Chapter 1882. In 1 second, she remembered. Love divided by you? Read book web quick update, no pop-up window, free to read. The eye of the dragon was in the river of forgetfulness. It was not conspicuous usually, and many river beasts swam around here, but it did not make a difference. The eye of the dragon was buried in the sand. If it was not a coincidence, Wu Lingyu would not have found it, and survived by borrowing the pagoda. Sima Yue kept all the boxes, then followed Wu Lingyu to the place where the eye of the dragon was. Ming and the others had already arrived and cleared the surrounding river beasts. A milky white pearl with a diameter of 1 zhang was casually placed in a pile of corals. It was covered with moss and was not conspicuous at all. This is the eye of the dragon? The root of the river of forgetfulness? Sima Yue squatted in front of the eye of the dragon, sizing up the huge pearl. Perhaps it was because Wu Lingyu's soul had fused with it, so she felt a familiar aura from the pearl. It was somewhat intimate. However, if she felt it carefully, she would realize that the familiar feeling was not just Wu Lingyu's aura. She reached out to push the eye of the dragon, which seemed to have been placed there casually. She used half of her strength, but could not make it sway at all. You don't have to try. Even I can't move it. Ming said from the side. Miss, why don't you let us try? The people present were not weak, and their strength was great when they worked together. Okay. She glanced at Ming, and the latter came over reluctantly. She muttered. I really owe you. That's why I'm doing such a degrading thing with you. Sima Yue smiled and did not refute. The 5 of them used their strength together, but the eye of the dragon still did not move. This eye of the dragon is indeed strange. Sima Yue touched her chin thoughtfully. I've already told you. Brute force is useless against it. Ming said. Why don't you try using the chaotic aura in your body? Chaotic aura? Sima Yue was surprised. You came back from the primal chaos world, so your soul is naturally stained with primal chaos chi, which is the aura that your body is hiding, Ming explained patiently. Sima Yue blinked and obediently released her aura. The dragon's eye, which had not reacted before, actually began to emit a faint light. Seeing this, she put her hand on the dragon's eye and pushed hard. The dragon's eye finally shook slightly. If it weren't for the fact that everyone present was at the peak of their strength, they probably wouldn't have felt the slightest tremor. However, she soon found that she didn't have enough strength. Her body was a little weak, and the extent of her shaking was even greater than the dragon eyes. Wu Lingyu noticed that something was wrong with her. She quickly supported her and pulled her hand away from the longan. Only then did Sima Yue feel that the loss of energy in her body had disappeared. And from the moment she bumped into longan to the moment Wu Lingyu pulled her down, it was only a matter of a few seconds. If not for Wu Lingyu's quick reaction, Sima Yue's energy would have been sucked dry. Young miss, how are you feeling? Black Shadow asked with concern. They didn't expect that the dragon's eye would have such a big reaction after coming into contact with the chaotic aura. If not for the connection between Wu Lingyu and the dragon's eye, which allowed him to sense this and save her in time, her foundation would have been injured. Ming saw Yue's pale face and for the first time, he was annoyed by his own words. If he hadn't asked her to test the chaotic aura, this wouldn't have happened. Wu Lingyu hugged Sima Yue and blamed himself. Sima Yue saw that they were all looking at her nervously. She smiled at them and said, I'm fine. Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? If you have something to say, you have to say it. Wu Lingyu said gently. I'm fine. I just feel a little dizzy and my body is a little weak. My heart is a little flustered, and I don't want to stay here anymore. Sima Yue said that she didn't feel well. Then let's go out first. Wu Lingyu hugged her and disappeared from the bottom of the river. Soon after, they appeared on the riverbank. Then Ming also came out with Huan and Black Shadow. Ming went up, grabbed her hand and checked it. He breathed a sigh of relief and said, It's okay. You just used up all of your strength. You'll be fine after resting for a while. Sima Yue nodded. She knew that the power Ming said was not the spiritual power in her body, but the power of her former soul and current body. How long do you need to rest? She wanted to solve the matter with Wu Lingyu as soon as possible, and then go to the imperial capital to ask the Ghost King the truth of what happened that year. If he could tell her about her mother's matter, She would consider whether to accept him or not. If he didn't want to, then she would no longer think of him as her grandfather, and would find another way to find her mother. At that time, the matter was so big that even Mou was present at that time. Even if he didn't know where her mother was suppressed, how could he not find it? It'll take a long time. You won't be able to recover without 3 to 5 months. Ming said faintly. So long? Of course. What do you think your situation is? Do you know that your energy was almost sucked dry? Ming suddenly stopped reprimanding her. To be honest, it was because of what he said that she was like this. Thinking of this, he lowered his voice and said, You have to rest well. I'll go back and think of a way for you. Okay. Sima Yue nodded. Everyone saw the reaction of the Eye of the Dragon just now. Maybe they could think of a way if they followed this path. Take good care of her. Don't do anything stupid before her body recovers. Hades reminded Wu Lingyu before he tore open the space and left. He didn't say that he was going to bring Black Shadow and Huan, and the two of them were happy not to ask. They said that they were going to stay and protect Yue. I didn't expect the Eye of the Dragon to be so powerful. She was only in contact with it for a while, and Miss was injured so badly. Black Shadow looked at Sima Yue. Is there any pill that can help you recover? Sima Yue shook her head slightly. Her body's energy was sucked away. It was not an ordinary injury. Ordinary pills were useless, and she didn't prepare any rare pills. Then Miss, is there anything that can help you recover? If there is, Black Shadow and I will go and find it. Huan said. After he reminded her, Sima Yue's eyes lit up and she smiled weakly. No need, I've already found it. After saying that, she moved her mind and brought everyone into the Spirit Pagoda. Little Spirit already knew what she meant, and brought them to the Tree of Souls. Elder Bai, sorry to disturb you. Sima Yue bowed to Elder Bai. How did you get hurt so badly? Come under me. Old Bai shook his head, and the leaves rustled. The fragrance that wafted into the air made Huan and Black Shadow, who were following them, feel comfortable all over. Wu Lingyu carried Sima Yue over, and put her under the tree, letting her rest against the trunk. Elder Bai noticed him and said in surprise, this soul is so strange. Chapter 1883. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web no pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue's eyes that were about to close opened again. Strange. Elder Bai, you said that Lingyu's soul is strange? How is it strange? With the power released by Elder Bai, she felt that her body was much better, and the heavy feeling was much more relaxed. His soul has fused again, right? Elder Bai said. When it fused back then it wasn't very good. But later on, it was repaired with divine medicine, but when Sima Yue heard him say this, she was completely energized. Of course, it was because she was scared awake. Elder Bai, what's wrong with his soul? Elder Bai was known as the Tree of Souls, and he was very sensitive to souls. Seeing him like this, her heart was in her mouth. There is indeed a problem, but it's not too big, and it has already been repaired. Elder Bai said. Elder Bai, please enlighten me. She sat up straight and looked at Elder Bai pleadingly. The soul was very important to a person, and if there was even the slightest problem with the soul, it would affect a person's cultivation. Not to mention someone like him who had his soul fused and his soul automatically left his body. His soul has fused with something, but you don't have to worry about it. That thing is repairing his soul bit by bit. Elder Bai saw that she was so worried and comforted her. That thing is repairing his soul. Sima Yue was a little surprised. That thing is imprisoning his soul, and he can't leave this place. I actually want to find a way to separate him from that thing. Elder Bai, you are very sensitive to souls. Can you show me a way? No. Elder Bai rejected her idea. Although his soul is very strong, it is actually very weak. If you separate him from that thing, he might end up in a state where his body and soul are unable to fuse. Sima Yue was shocked by Elder Bai's words, and was secretly glad that she didn't do that, or it would be too late to regret it. But he would have to return to his body in the future. Then what about the dragon eye? Senior Bai didn't know what she was thinking and continued. Not only can you not separate them, but you also have to find a way to nourish that thing. As long as it is well, his soul will be well. In that case, if he wants to return to his body, will he be affected? Her question surprised Elder Bai, and he didn't answer her immediately. After a moment of silence, he said, the thing he fused with won't affect him or his body. However, if he used a secret technique to leave his body, he could also use a secret technique to return to his body. If not, he would have to find something that could stabilize his soul. However, using the secret technique is very harmful to the soul. Even if you can return safely, you will have to recuperate for several hundred years. When Sima Yue found out that he used a secret method to come to the world of spirits and souls, she knew that there was a price to pay for using the secret method. Thinking of all that he had done for her, she felt both happy and distressed. Bai Lao saw that she was a little dazed, so he changed the topic. You don't have to be so worried. If it was someone else, it would naturally be like this. However, he is lucky to have met me, and I want to repay you. When the time comes, just give him some essence and he will be fine. It's that simple? Sima Yue was a little surprised. Didn't it sound like a very serious matter? Is it so easy to get my essence? If it wasn't for the chance that it came to you, I'm afraid you won't be able to walk this path for the rest of your life. Easy. Bai Lao was so angry by her words that he hung a branch from the trunk and poked her head like a human. Bai Lao had been recuperating in the spirit pagoda for so long, and he had recovered quite well. He could barely be considered to be flourishing. Sima Yue stretched out her hand to touch the leaf and said fawningly, if I hadn't taken Old White's essence in advance, my soul might have been destroyed in the explosion. How could I have waited for Old Ancestor to condense my soul? Therefore, meeting Bai Lao is the luckiest thing in my life. It's good that you know. Then I have to thank Bai Lao for Ling Yu's matter. Bai Lao. He felt that he had been tricked by this little girl. Compared to Qing Yi, Bai Lao was more useful to the people of the three realms. Because Qing Yi's essence was more useful to the human race and the Mo race, it was the nemesis of the ghost race. It was too late for the ghost race to avoid it. You little girl, you should take good care of your soul here. Once your soul is well, you will be stronger when you return to your body in the future. Bai Lao was tricked and was not happy. He fell silent and looked no different from an ordinary tree. At this time, the three people who had been silent at the side turned their attention to Sima Yue. However, seeing her pale face, they didn't have the nerve to ask her again. However, from their conversation, this tree seemed to be very awesome. What was its origin? Sima Yue looked at their burning gazes and smiled, saying, Bai Lao, the divine tree is the tree of souls. The aura it releases is very useful for the soul. I can recuperate here, and it's twice the result with half the effort outside. This is the tree of souls? I thought it was just a legend. Black Shadow looked at Bai Lao excitedly. Miss, can I stay here for a while? If you are rude, Bai Lao will throw you out. After she finished speaking, she closed her eyes and began to recuperate. She said that she agreed. Black Shadow was so happy that he couldn't find north and wandered around Bai Lao. Wu Lingyu went to Yoyue's old alchemy room and asked Little Spirit to get some herbs. He locked himself in the alchemy room for 3 days and 3 nights. After coming out, he went to find Sima Yue and gave her the pills. Little Seven and the others came out of the alchemy room and looked at Wu Lingyu's back. They muttered, My goodness, he is even more powerful now. That's right. In the past, he only had spiritual power and magic power. Now he even has underworld power. In the 3 realms, I'm afraid only he is so powerful. Ye Guang said with admiration. Really awesome. Yu Yu is still the most powerful. No matter how powerful he is, he still has to bow down to Yu Yu. Little Seven snorted. That's right, Yu Yu is still the most powerful. Ha ha ha. Sima Yue's body recovered very quickly under Bai Lao's nourishment. She originally said that she would need half a year, but she recovered in about a month. On this day, she pulled Wu Lingyu for a walk by the river. She thought of the rope and took it out to bind it with her blood. Looking at the rope binding Wu Lingyu under her control, she laughed mischievously. How does this feel? Can you break free? You'll know when you try. Wu Lingyu raised his eyebrows at her. I'm not that stupid to tie myself up. Sima Yue raised her chin and walked towards him. She didn't notice the stone under her feet, and her whole body fell towards him. The two of them fell to the ground together. Chapter 1884. In 1 second, she remembered. Love divided by you? Read book web no pop-up windows free to read. They did not fall onto the ground as expected. The moment they fell, a soft cushion appeared below and caught the two of them. Wu Lingyu was below and Sima Yue was lying on top of him. Seeing his smiling eyes, she understood what he meant and her face turned red. So it turns out that Yu likes this kind of heavy taste. The corners of his mouth curled up as he glanced at himself. Sima Yue's face turned even redder. Wu Lingyu was unable to move because of her help, and now she was on top of him. At first glance, it did seem a little. However, seeing his teasing eyes, she calmed down and was not in a hurry to get up. She placed her hands on his chest and looked at him with a smile. Wu Lingyu's body was about to melt under her gaze, especially when he saw her slowly moving closer to him. Her delicate face was getting closer and closer, and her seductive red lips were getting closer and closer to him. Thump! Thump! At this moment, he seemed to hear the sound of his own heartbeat. He actually became nervous. Closer! Closer! The soft touch was like a feather brushing past him. Wu Lingyu felt his heart being lifted. However, before he could savor the taste, the feeling disappeared again. Sima Yue saw the faint disappointment in his eyes and laughed while lying on top of him. She did not say anything and just stared at him. Wu Lingyu's heart was fluttering under her stare. He wanted to reach out and hug her, but his hands were tied. Yue. His low and hoarse voice was full of temptation and desire. Weren't you laughing at me just now? Sima Yue touched her hair and teased his face. He had already endured for hundreds of years. In the past, it was fine if she teased him subconsciously, but now, she was openly teasing him. It was simply asking for his life. A single look, a single word, and a single action from her made him unable to breathe. I was wrong, Yue. Don't punish me. He apologized sincerely, but his words were full of burning desire. Sima Yue felt a little uncomfortable under his burning gaze. She suddenly regretted seducing him. Seeing him staring straight at her, she smiled seductively and kissed him hard. After a round of entanglement, they almost had sex. At the last step, a certain someone managed to restrain himself. This made Sima Yue rather surprised. Seeing his pain, Sima Yue wrapped her arms around his neck and buried herself in his neck. She whispered, "If it's okay." For her, he gave up his life and came to the world of spirits and souls. After going through so much, the two of them finally got together. She had already set her mind on him. The etiquette of the Duke of Zhou was the same sooner or later. Wu Lingyu's hands were already free. He tightened his arms around her and took a deep breath. Then he kissed her forehead and said, "Although there's no difference between the two of us, I still want to wait until after we're married. That way my parents-in-law will be even happier." All parents naturally didn't want their children to have sex before they were married. He thought this way not only because he respected her, but also because he respected her parents. "After we've settled your matter, we'll go and save mother. Anyway, father is here. With the two of them, we can get married." Sima Yue replied, "It seems like I'm not the only one who's anxious to take advantage of you." Wu Lingyu chuckled. "After we save mother-in-law, we'll get married." Sima Yue was teased by him again. She reached out to poke the flesh on his waist, but he held her hand back. Then he started to do it again. After a long time, when the evil fire in their bodies dissipated, they lay on the soft bed and chatted. They talked about the magical weapon that tied Wu Lingyu up. Immortal binding rope. It'll be called this in the future. Sima Yue played with the rope. She liked it very much. She actually knew that Wu Lingyu was tied up by her on purpose. However, neither of them expected that they would almost be unable to free themselves in the end. However, this thing was still very useful to deal with others. "Oh right, can you still refine weapons now?" She suddenly sat up and looked at him with a frown. "That depends on the situation. If it's too powerful, I'm now." In the past, it wasn't a problem for him to refine a magical weapon. However, now that he had abandoned his body and came to the ghost realm, he couldn't be like before. At least he couldn't for the time being. Sima Yue told him about Little Spirit finding a spatial magical weapon to repair the spirit pagoda. She also told him that this could bring Thousand Resonance and Little Roar to the ghost realm. She originally wanted to wait for herself to grow up and do it on her own. She didn't trust anyone else. However, now that she had him, it was different. Let me see the item. Wu Lingyu sat up. Sima Yue took out the pocket universal box and passed it to him. Wu Lingyu looked at it and said, "It shouldn't be a problem. However, it might take some time. I'll study it for 2 days first." All right. Sima Yue handed the item to him and let him arrange it. Wu Lingyu knew that she missed Little Roar and the rest. After receiving the pocket universal box, he began to study it. 2 days later, he began to fuse it with the spirit pagoda. It wasn't the first time that he fused a magical weapon with Little Spirit. The last time was when he was in the Yilin continent. He fused the 7-layered pagoda with Little Spirit, who was still a spirit stone, and formed the current spirit pagoda. However, the last time he was still connected to Sima Yue. He was still connected to the spirit stone. Therefore, it was easier to control the fusion last time. However, at that time he didn't recover much of his strength. Now his strength was much stronger than before. Therefore, although the process this time was more troublesome, it was still completed smoothly. This time, not only was Little Spirit completely repaired, its grade was also better. Sima Yue saw Wu Lingyu smiling at her and knew that this matter was done. However, what they didn't know was that when Little Spirit completely recovered, there was also movement in the human realm. When the Sima family saw the golden light emitted from the back mountain, everyone in the residence was shocked. Thinking that it was the direction where Sima Yue was, everyone flew in that direction. Seeing Sima Qing standing in front of the cave and staring at the golden light in a daze, Sima Zhiyuan and the rest asked excitedly, "Old ancestor, is Yue?" Sima Qing shook his head. She didn't wake up. It was the light that suddenly emitted from her body. "What is that?" "I don't know. But it must be related to her." Sima Qing murmured, "Maybe it's because she did something over there. Then is she coming back?" No one could answer the last question. They couldn't go to the ghost realm and couldn't bring her back, so they could only pray that she would come back soon. Originally, after so many years, many people in the continent had almost forgotten that there was such an all-powerful woman. Only those who were present at that time, and those who were related to her remembered her, and kept sending her the elixirs she needed. Today, the golden light from the Sima family made her the focus of everyone again. Everyone was guessing whether she was coming back. Chapter 1885. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read, book, webquick update. No pop-up window, free to read. Little Helper stood at the peak of the mountain, and the many-years-old pine tree on the mountain peak were one person and one shadow. A child came behind Little Helper, bowed and said, "Sovereign, I just received news that there are movements from the Sima family." "I already know. Unfortunately, it's not her who came back." Little Helper replied faintly. The child was a little surprised. Sovereign had been standing on the mountain for so long and had not come down. He had actually predicted the movements from the Sima family. To be able to predict such a small matter, Sovereign's prediction ability had improved again. But Sovereign was always frowning. What could he do to make him happy? It was really worrying. Little Helper looked at the distant sky. It was so natural that it was connected to the mountain range, as if it was hidden behind the mountains. He blinked his eyes, forcing back the tears in his eyes, and muttered in his heart, "When will you come back?" At this moment, Sima Yue was being hugged by Little Roar, who did not want to let go. His 4 short limbs were all on her body, and he was crying non-stop. After listening to him cry for a while, Sima Yue comforted him. "All right, aren't I here now? I thought that I would never see you again." Little Roar cried for a while before he was able to speak. "Don't give me that. Thousand Resonance is unconscious. You and I have a soul contract, can't you feel it?" Sima Yue poked his head. "Right, why are we all awake, but Thousand Resonance is still not awake?" Little Roar thought of being with Thousand Resonance. He had been awake for so long, but Thousand Resonance was still asleep. He was worried for a long time. Previously, he thought that it was because everyone had not woken up, and he was the only one who was special. But now that he saw that everyone was fine, and only Thousand Resonance was alone, he was even more worried. Could it be that Thousand Resonance's injuries were too serious? Don't worry, Thousand Resonance is fine. Sima Yue saw that he was anxious and explained, "You woke up because you and I have a soul contract. When my strength increases, you will naturally wake up." Little Seven and the rest woke up because they were in the Spirit Pagoda, and were nurtured by Little Spirit. When Thousand Resonance was in my body, she didn't receive any nourishment, so she didn't wake up. It will be fine after it recuperates here. Really? Little Roar raised his head and looked at her. Seeing her nod her head in affirmation, he finally relaxed. Then, Little Roar, who had regained his original nature, began to play around in the Spirit Pagoda. That mischievous look really made her speechless. However, it had to be said that with Little Roar, the Spirit Pagoda was even more lively. When dark came over, Sima Yue walked out of the Spirit Pagoda. Ming raised his brows when he saw that she had recovered. "You recovered so quickly?" "With the help of external forces." Sima Yue smiled. "Have you found a way?" Ming nodded. "There is a way, but it's not easy. It's better than nothing." Sima Yue was not afraid of trouble as long as there was a way. "King, what should we do?" Black Shadow asked. Wu Lingyu stared at him, and said what he was worried about. "The dragon eye absorbs the chaotic aura. It has a limit. As long as it's filled up, we should be able to move it," Dark said. "But, how do we get the chaotic aura?" Black Shadow frowned. Actually, everyone knew that the chaotic aura naturally came from the chaotic world. Did they have to go to the chaotic world? But that was too dangerous. Dark glared at Black Shadow before continuing. "Only you can get the chaotic aura from there." Okay. Sima Yu also had this idea in her heart, so she didn't hesitate to agree when she said it. Wu Lingyu wanted to go with them, but he was trapped here, and could not leave. "When are we going?" Black Shadow asked. "It's not us. It's just her." Dark glanced at the frowning people and felt helpless. "I have a restriction on me, so I can't go to the chaotic world. If you two go, you probably won't be able to come back. She's the only one who's been there before, so she's the only one who can do this. In the past, not many people who went to the chaotic world returned. Black Shadow and the others were from the underworld, so they definitely could not go. Sima Yue had been there once, so the restriction was useless to her. "Don't worry, I'll be fine if I go alone." Sima Yue was not worried. She just wanted to solve this problem as soon as possible and then save her mother. "Only people who are fine will be worried about you." Dark patted her shoulder, then opened up a space and threw her in. He did not give anyone time to react. Looking at the closed space, everyone's mouth twitched. "King, did you have to be so fast? You haven't told her how to do it." Dark was speechless under their stares. He understood their gazes and snorted. "Why are you looking at me?" "I don't know either." The three of them were speechless. Wu Lingyu wanted to fight with him, but could he win? The answer was obvious even with his toes. As for the other two, they did not have the guts to do so. By the time Sima Yu came back to her senses, she was already in a vast expanse of white fog. Looking at the fog, she knew that she was in the chaotic world. Dark, this fellow, actually has a restriction placed on him. He can't come here at all. This means that when he said that he had never been here before, he was just bluffing. I don't know what he did here, but someone actually placed a restriction on him. Sima Yue's interest in Dark was only at the beginning. After walking in the chaotic world for a long time, she did not have the mood to think about Dark anymore. "I feel like I've been walking for a few months, but everywhere I go is white. I haven't met a single living creature. This place is too strange." She held Little Seven's hand while Little Roar lay on her shoulder. It was lonely to walk alone for so long. Since these two fellows wanted to come out, she let them come out so that they could talk. Indeed, there isn't a single living creature. This place is so big. It can't be just us, right? After Little Roar finished speaking, he leaned on Sima Yue's neck. Sima Yue was not worried that there were no living creatures. She was worried that Dark threw her here without telling her anything. She did not even know how to gather the chaotic energy. He could not possibly find a bottle to store it, right? You let me do it. Little Spirit's voice sounded in her mind. With a thought, Sima Yue appeared in her arms. This time, the Spirit Pagoda and the Pocket Cosmos box fused. One of the benefits was that Little Spirit could leave the Spirit Pagoda and move around freely. Little Spirit, what idea do you have? Before Sima Yue could say anything, Little Seven asked first. The chaotic world was not fun at all. There was not even a single person, let alone a fight. She wanted to finish this quickly and leave as soon as possible. The outside world was much more fun. Sima Yue stared at Little Spirit, waiting for him to say his idea. Chapter 1886. In 1 second she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read, book, web, no pop-up windows, free to read. Sima Yue stared at Little Spirit, her heart a little nervous. She did not know anything about the chaotic world and was completely blind. She had to try anything. Little Spirit did not keep her in suspense and said directly, I have been trying to see if I can absorb the chaotic chi here. In the end, I found out that I can. Previously, I was able to return the energy I absorbed to you. This chaotic chi should be able to do the same. You're saying that you should first absorb the chaotic chi and then return it to me. When I transfer to the Dragon Eye, with you around, I won't be injured because of the lack of chaotic chi. Sima Yue's eyes lit up. This is a good idea. Little Spirit, I'll leave this to you. And Little Spirit nodded his head seriously. Wu Lingyu had helped him merge twice and raised his grade. He was also Yu Yu's beloved, so he naturally had to treat this seriously. Then how long do you need? Little Seven asked. I don't know either. I feel that to fill that thing up, I need a lot of chaotic chi. However, my absorption speed is not fast. I might need a few years, a few decades, or even a few hundred years. Little Spirit frowned slightly. He had no confidence in this matter. A few hundred years. Little Seven jumped in shock. If she had to stay here for a few hundred years, wouldn't she be bored to death? I'm only saying that it's possible. Little Spirit glared at her. For Yu Yu's health, the more the better. Alright then. Little Seven could not joke about Yu Yu's health. If it was boring, then so be it. It was better than seeing Yu Yu injured. A few hundred years it is, as long as it can solve Ling Yu's problem. Sima Yue said. Continue absorbing for now. I'll see if there's any other way. Okay. Little Spirit replied and went back. Yu Yu, what do we do now? Little Roar asked. Let's walk a little more. The chaotic world is so big. It can't be that there's nothing, right? Let's see if we can find anything. After Sima Yue finished speaking, she continued to lead the group. They walked in the white world for a few more months. Just when she thought that the world was just like that, a little bit of difference finally appeared. This was something that Little Roar had discovered. In this vast white world, he could actually hear the sound of flowing water. When they followed the sound, they saw a small stream. Is this really water? Little Seven was a little suspicious. There was nothing in this world. They had been walking here for more than half a year and had not seen anything. How could a stream suddenly appear? Sima Yue walked to the side of the stream and looked at the steam rising from the water. It seems that all the fog in the primal chaos world comes from this stream. This stream was really strange. It didn't look like there was much water, but there was so much steam coming out of it. She wanted to reach out and splash the water, but somehow, she slipped and fell down. Little Seven and Little Roar reacted and stretched out their hands to pull her up, but it was as if they were blocked by something. They couldn't even touch her body and could only watch as she fell into the water. It looked like there was only a little water in the stream, but when she fell in, it was as if there was no bottom at all. She opened her eyes and realized that she had fallen into another world. It was a pitch-black world with nothing in it. She didn't know how long she had been in the darkness. She even forgot who she was and what she wanted to do. She forgot Wu Lingyu, her father, mother, brother and sister. She forgot all the people she knew. Her divine sense was empty and she had no memories at all. Just when she was at a loss, she saw a ray of light in front of her. Following that, The ray of light expanded and chased away the darkness. The surroundings were pure and holy. She didn't know where she was and didn't know what this was. She could only open her eyes and look at the creatures that were slowly growing in the empty water. They grew in the water, multiplied and left, one after another at this moment. She saw a black lotus emerge from the water. That lotus looked familiar to her, but she couldn't remember where she had seen it before. At this moment, she felt that her back was burning, as if she was going to melt. Following that, the lotus slowly bloomed. When it had fully bloomed, the burning sensation on her back slowly dissipated. As time passed, slowly, other plants started to grow by the side of the stream. There were various spirit beasts and even humans. Following that, they slowly separated. There were various races and the world was divided. Those that came out of the water became gods. Those that came out later became their subordinates. Later on, the gods disappeared. She didn't know if they were extinct or if they left this place. Later on, there was nothing left here. It was as if it had turned into nothingness. Sima Yue didn't know how long she had stayed at the bottom of the river, but she felt that she had experienced millions of years. She had experienced the vicissitudes of life and saw all the life in the world. She had witnessed the origin and development of life. When she woke up, what she saw was her own territory. It was a territory that was full of life, like a real world. She felt that her territory had already called itself a world. She could even live in it. The scene she saw earlier didn't disappear because she woke up. Instead, it was fresh in her memory. In that place, she witnessed the origin of life. She witnessed the world that had yet to be separated. She witnessed the three realms coexisting peacefully. She also witnessed them being chased out by the gods. They were like fire and water, and from then on, they lived in a barren place. She didn't think that what she saw was an illusion. It was said that the world used to be chaotic. Looking at it now, she felt that what she saw was the origin of the world. If that was really the case, then didn't it mean that all life originated from this stream and lived in the chaotic world? Later on, this place wasn't suitable for living anymore, so everyone left. From then on, the chaotic world became what it was. Thinking about the black lotus she saw, she used to think that it was a coincidence that she came to the chaotic world when her soul was damaged. It seemed that it wasn't true. To be able to come here, it must have something to do with this place. However, at that time, even if she could come in, she couldn't leave. It was Mo Shah who risked his life to come in and bring her out. And Mo Shah could come in because he had a contract with her at that time. He could only come in with her. Now, even without the restriction of the Eye of the Dragon, he wouldn't be able to come in. She just didn't know if what she saw could be seen by everyone who came, or was it the stream that let her see it? Yu, I can't drink anymore. Little Spirit's voice interrupted her thoughts. If I drink any more, I'll be stuffed to death. Chapter 1887. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web no pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue came out from her deep thoughts. Hearing Little Spirit's words, she was puzzled. What are you drinking? Drinking water. Burp. Little Spirit said and burped. Drinking water? What water are you drinking? Sima Yue couldn't remember where she was for a while. How is this a stream? It's clearly water condensed from the primal chaos chi. I've already drunk my fill just now. Little Spirit's voice was very happy. It was just that he did not know how long it would take to absorb the white mist. Now that he was full, everything was solved. Sima Yue entered the spirit pagoda and saw that Little Spirit had actually created a small stream in the medicine field. She did not know where it ended and she did not know where it went. Perhaps only Little Spirit knew how long it was. Don't tell me you moved the entire stream in? She was speechless. She saw the primal chaos chi emerging from the water and lingering above the medicine field, nourishing the medicine field. However, under Little Spirit's control, there was not much of it. It was not like the primal chaos world which turned into fog everywhere. Such a long stream was almost the same as the one she saw outside. No wonder she was wondering if it had moved the entire stream in here. Little Spirit appeared beside her and happily danced with his hands and feet. I don't know how big that little stream is, it's endless. I think I've drunk enough, but to it, it's not even a drop in the bucket. Sima Yue did not expect that such a small stream would be so big. However, with such a small stream in the spirit pagoda, it would naturally be enough to fill the dragon eye. Yu, let me tell you. With this, I also have the primal chaos chi. It's much more powerful than ordinary divine weapons. Little spirit grabbed her and jumped around. There were very few things that could make him so happy. This time, he was able to raise 2 grades consecutively. To him, this was something that could only be encountered by chance, especially this primal chaos chi, which was the origin of life. This is not bad. Sima Yue patted its head. Since we have obtained the river water, let's prepare to go back. After she left the spirit pagoda, she remembered that she had come in through the domain. Since the domain had been confiscated, she had come out from this place. She put away her domain and found herself in the bottomless water. There was a faint light coming from above. She swam up, and when she came out of the water, she saw Little Seven's anxious face. Seeing her, Little Seven and Little Roar finally relaxed and said, "You quickly come up." This time, her outstretched hand successfully grabbed onto Sima Yue. Sima Yue felt that the water was sucking her down. She only managed to climb up with the help of Little Seven and Little Roar. "You, are you alright? You scared us to death." Little Seven looked at him worriedly. "I'm fine." Other than feeling a little heavy, Sima Yue did not feel any discomfort. "How long have I been in the water?" "More than 10 days. Little Seven replied. "We wanted to go down to look for you, but we couldn't get into the water no matter what. We don't know why it's so strange. Luckily you're finally out. If not, Little Roar and I. It's only been 10 days. Sima Yue muttered softly. She had clearly seen the world, but only 10 days had passed. "What's wrong?" Sima Yue told them about what she saw, and Little Seven was shocked when she heard it. The life in this world was actually born from here. We actually saw this river with our own eyes. It's a pity that this place is no longer suitable for living. Who in this world would know that this is the origin of life? Little Roar and Little Seven were deeply moved. It really makes one sigh. Sima Yue was also deeply moved. However, Little Spirit has filled up quite a lot of water from the river. We can think of a way to go back. How do we go back? Little Roar asked. This question stumped the two of them. That's right. How do they go back? Last time, Emosha had brought her out. This time, that fellow Dark threw her over without telling her anything. How could she go back? Just at this moment, she felt a scorching pain from her shoulder. A black light shot out from her shoulder and pierced through the thick fog. It opened a passage in the air and brought her up quickly. Yu. Little Seven and Little Roar were shocked by this sudden change. Luckily, Sima Yue used the power of the contract to keep them into the contract space at the last moment. Only then did she successfully bring them out. When Sima Yue stepped on the soil by the river of forgetfulness, she still had some lingering fear. It was really too dangerous just now. If not for her quick reaction, Little Seven and Little Roar would have been left in the chaotic world. Hence, when she saw a certain someone looking at her mockingly, she could not help but say, "Why didn't you tell me beforehand?" "What did I tell you? If I told you, would I still be able to see this panicked side of you?" Dark smiled with a satisfied look on his face. She was too calm. After being with her for so many years, he had never seen her panic over anything. Even when it came to Wu Lingyu, she was only anxious and worried. Now that he had finally seen her panic, although it was only for a short moment, he was satisfied. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. When would this fellow stop his bad taste? Dark naturally ignored her rolling eyes and asked, "Let's not talk about this first. What did you see over there? Was the matter of the chaotic aura resolved?" Sima Yue told him about what happened over there. Although it was not a short time, she did not encounter many things. After all, she had been walking for half a year. It was the last scene that shocked everyone. "I never thought that you would be able to see that." Dark seemed to be deep in thought and stopped talking. When Sima Yue saw him like this, she knew that he knew something. But looking at him like this, it seemed that he didn't intend to say it, just like how he didn't intend to say anything about him and the chaos world, and why he couldn't go because of the restriction. "I also got quite a lot of chaotic aura. Let's go to the Dragon Eye now. Sima Yue wanted to solve the matter of Wu Lingyu as soon as possible. However, Dark and the others were not at ease. From the last time she was injured, a little bit of chaotic aura was not enough. If she only got a little bit, wouldn't she be injured again? However, after seeing the chaotic stream in the spirit pagoda, the four of them shut their mouths. With just this river, a few dragon's eyes should be enough. You're really greedy. Although he said this, he still brought her to the Dragon Eye. Wu Lingyu was still very worried when he saw her approaching the Dragon Eye again. He stood beside her and stared at her closely. If she felt any discomfort, he would immediately go forward and pull her down. Seeing her put her hand on the Dragon Eye, everyone's hearts were in their throats. Chapter 1888. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web no pop-up windows free to read. What they were worried about did not happen. Sima Yue did not show any signs of discomfort. As she continued to pour chaotic energy into the eye of the dragon emitted a milky white light. It penetrated the moss on the surface and illuminated the entire bottom of the river. Not only that, when the light shone on people, it made them feel very comfortable. Even the other river beasts in the river of forgetfulness felt as if they were bathing in a warm embrace. Sima Yue watched as the eye of the dragon became brighter and brighter. It gradually became smaller, and a smile finally appeared on her face. It was indeed useful. She did not know how much chaotic energy she had poured in. But the eye of the dragon finally shrunk to the size of a human head. It floated up and down in front of her. Then, it ran over and rubbed against her body. It looked very intimate. Sima Yue reached out and hugged it. It was not as heavy as before, so there was nothing special about hugging it. Miss, can I hug it too? Black Shadow stood at the side and stared at the eye of the dragon with a burning gaze. He even subconsciously licked his lips. Eye of the dragon. If he could hug it, he could brag to others when he went back. Previously, he could not even shake it. Now that she could hug it, there should be no problem. Sima Yue felt that they could hug it if they wanted, so she passed the eye of the dragon over. Black Shadow excitedly reached out to take it, but his arms were almost crippled. Fortunately, he let go the moment he felt the weight. Otherwise, he would have been flattened. Damn, why is this so heavy? He took 2 steps back and patted his chest with a face full of fear. Is it very heavy? Sima Yue hugged the eye of the dragon with one hand. It's not heavy. It should be because the chaotic energy you poured in contains your aura, and has been recognized by the eye of the dragon. That's why you can hug it. Ming explained. Then he said to Wu Lingyu, try it. Wu Lingyu reached out to hug the eye of the dragon. It obediently allowed him to hug it. It's not heavy. He weighed the eye of the dragon as if it was an ordinary object. It seems that it only recognizes the two of you. Black Shadow looked at the two of them enviously. Wu Lingyu had become one with it, so she was naturally able to carry it. Since Sima Yue's aura had been recognized by it, it was almost as if it had recognized its master. Sima Yue was amused. If we can't win the fight, we can use it as a weapon to crush them. The dragon's eye twitched in Wu Lingyu's hand. She didn't know if it was protesting her words, or if it was excited to hear them. Alright Lingyu, you can put it away. Now that the matter is settled, we can prepare to go back. Sima Yue went up and held his hand happily. It's not that simple. Ming poured a bucket of cold water on her. If he leaves just like that, the river of forgetfulness will be finished. The water of the river of forgetfulness came from the dragon's eye. If they took away the dragon's eye, wouldn't the river of forgetfulness dry up? The Nirvana river connected to it would also be affected. The nether beasts in the river. Do you want me to give up at this point? Sima Yue's face fell. If it was before she went to the chaotic world, she might not care about the lives of these river beasts. However, after witnessing the changes in the chaotic world, she had a trace of pity for these innocent lives that she didn't even notice. However, if there was really no other way, she would still choose Wu Lingyu. King, do you have a solution? Black Shadow couldn't bear to see Sima Yue disappointed, so he placed his hope on Ming. What can I do? I can't make a dragon's eye appear here. Ming looked at Sima Yoyue's troubled expression and felt that she was much angrier than before. The dragon's eye was one of a kind. It was impossible to find a way to replace it. Sima Yue was in a dilemma. At this moment, the dragon's eye emitted a blinding white light. Everyone had no choice but to close their eyes and cover their eyes with their hands. When the light dissipated, everyone opened their eyes and was immediately shocked by the thing in front of them. Two dragons' eyes? Black Shadow pointed at the two identical dragon's eyes in shock and opened his mouth wide. Ming was also stunned. He just said that he couldn't make a dragon's eye appear, and now it was here. These two are different. Wu Lingyu said, "This one has a connection with me, but I can't sense the connection with the other one." So this was made by the dragon's eye and left in the river of forgetfulness? Sima Yue reached out and poked the extra dragon's eye. It slowly floated to the place where the dragon's eye used to be and turned into its original size. Seems like it. Ming didn't expect this problem to be solved so quickly. However, this is a part of the dragon's eye. I don't know if there will be any impact if half of it is gone. I will send people to keep an eye on this place. If the river of forgetfulness is unstable, I will send people to find you. Sima Yue knew that the river of forgetfulness originated from the underworld. Some of the river beasts in the river of forgetfulness were also from the underworld. If this place was affected, the underworld would be affected too. As the king of the underworld, he was responsible for the lives in the underworld. However, she felt that since the dragon's eye could split on its own, it meant that it knew that it was useful. Hence, she wasn't very worried. After that, Wu Lingyu kept the dragon's eye. From now on, he wouldn't be trapped here anymore. They came to the shore. Perhaps they realized that they were going to be separated, so they were a little silent. In the end, it was Ming who spoke first. "When are you leaving?" "Now." Sima Yue held Wu Lingyu's hand. "I have to go to the capital as soon as possible and find out where Mother is being suppressed. Then, I will go and save her. With your current strength, I'm afraid you are still a little lacking." Ming didn't think highly of her strength. Back then, when he asked her to cultivate in the underworld, this fellow refused to do it no matter what and wasted so many years. At this moment, he forgot that he was the one who said that if she cultivated in the underworld, she would have to stay in the underworld. "I have Lingyu now. Cousin has also prepared for so many years." Sima Yue smiled at Wu Lingyu, her eyes full of trust. With him by her side, there would definitely be no problem. Ming looked at the lovey-dovey eyes of the two and waved his hand impatiently. Let's go, let's go. My eyes are hurting." "King, are we still following them?" Huan asked. "Of course we have to follow them. With her troublesome temper, she will cause trouble sooner or later. You two follow her and protect her well. Also, if there's anything fun, you can tell me," Ming said. Although there is an agreement between the underworld and the ghost realm, it doesn't mean that we don't care about the affairs of the world. You two have to be more flexible. Don't lose face for the underworld, understand? Huan and Black Shadow were happy. Their king had given them power. In the future, they wouldn't have to be afraid of anything. "We will definitely protect the young miss," the two answered in unison. As for a certain someone, they both ignored him. Chapter 1889. In 1 second, she remembered. Love Divided by You? Reads book web no pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu left, followed by Huan and Black Shadow, leaving Ming alone. Ming waited for them to leave, but he did not return to the underworld directly. Instead, he came to the Dragon Eye. He stared at the Dragon Eye for a long time, then slowly reached out and touched it. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The Dragon Eye seemed to have met its master and made a cheerful sound. "You're finally awake." Ming gently stroked it. "She won't know. Even if she knows, she won't be angry." Buzz, buzz, buzz. The Dragon Eye rubbed against his hand. "Actually, I was thinking that if I told her the truth, she would help me go to the chaotic world. But I'm not sure." After a pause, he continued. "Although this method is a bit unfair to Wu Lingyu, he did get your power." Buzz, buzz, buzz. "I know if I don't light you up, the river of forgetfulness will be in danger. I knew she wouldn't let me down." What Ming said at the bottom of the river was something that Sima Yue had never thought of. Out of her trust in Ming, she never thought that he would go through so much trouble to ask her to do this. She was not the only one who thought of it. Even Huan and Black Shadow did not know the twists and turns in this matter. Ming did not intend to let anyone know. This did not affect his love for Sima Yue, so there was no need to tell them. Especially now that he saw how much she valued Wu Lingyu. He did not dare to say anything. Sima Yue did not think about whether she had been set up by Ming, but she also had doubts in her heart. Why would the dragon eye split into two? It was as if it was prepared to split into two from the beginning. However, when she saw some clues, she gave up on thinking about it. No matter what the starting point was, no matter what the process was, she only wanted this result now. She guessed that they should have gone to the imperial capital to prepare for the competition between the dynasties. So she did not return to vast region, and went directly to the imperial capital. They found the nearest city and prepared to find a teleportation array to go to the imperial capital. However, when he arrived, he was informed that the teleportation array was broken and could not be used for the time being. He could only go to another city to use the teleportation array. Sima Yue and the other three were confused, but they did not say anything. Because it was getting late, they asked the person in charge of the teleportation portal for the nearest inn, and prepared to rest for the night before leaving. After they left, the steward greeted the others. He glanced in the direction where Sima Yue had left and turned to walk in the opposite direction. Not long after, an exclamation was heard from one of the houses. "Are you saying that the person is really Sima Yue?" "Yes, master. I'm very sure that woman is Sima Yue." Standing opposite the master was the manager of the teleportation portal. "Are you sure?" "Master, there is a rumor in the ghost realm that Sima Yue has come to the ghost realm, and she looks very similar to the Dark Princess. The woman I saw today looked very similar to the Dark Princess." The manager replied. "We suffered a great loss because of that incident. If we really met her, then we must not let her go this time." The master slapped the armrest of the chair. He was very angry when he thought of that incident. When they received the news that the passage to the human realm was about to be opened, they also wanted to get a share of the profits, so they put in a lot of effort. However, they did not expect that all the people they sent would be annihilated. At first, they thought that the human realm had already received the news, so they let all the people from the ghost clan die there. However, when they went to investigate later, they found out that everything was going smoothly, but in the end, it was all ruined by Sima Yue alone. When the news spread to the ghost realm, those who were involved in this incident were all furious and deeply remembered her. Once she came to the ghost realm, they must make her pay the price. In the past, when she was in the human realm, they could not do anything to her. But now she was right in front of their eyes. She had delivered herself to their doorstep for them to take their revenge. "Do you know where she is right now?" the master asked the manager. "I've already sent people to follow her," the manager replied. "Master, should we? Since she's already here, how can we miss such a good opportunity? Send 10 people, no, send 20 people. I don't believe that she can be as arrogant in the ghost realm as she was in the human realm." At this moment, another old man in the room spoke up. "Master, this Sima Yue is the Ghost King's granddaughter. If we do anything to her, will we offend the Ghost King? The Ghost King doesn't even want to acknowledge this granddaughter, right? He could even capture and kill his most beloved princess of the Dark Night, let alone her who has half human blood." The old master coldly snorted. He felt that the Ghost King wouldn't care about a human granddaughter like her. "Master, although that is the case, the Ghost King is the king who rules the ghost realm. Although he might not like this granddaughter now, she still has the royal bloodline. If we kill her, what if he remembers one day and wants to settle the score with us?" the old man advised. "Then according to your words, we shouldn't do this?" The master's face darkened. The previous incident had caused them to suffer heavy losses. Several talented juniors had died in that incident. Now that he knew that Sima Yue was here, if he did not take revenge, the fire in his heart would never be extinguished. "No, of course we will take revenge, but we can't do it here," the old man said. "Once they leave our sphere of influence, with so many enemies, who would know who killed them?" "You're saying We should announce her whereabouts? After the previous incident, I'm sure many people want to kill her. As long as everyone knows her whereabouts, can she still stay in the ghost realm? The old man revealed a sinister smile. At that time, there will be many people who want to fish in troubled waters. If she dies, no one will know who killed her. Even if the Ghost King remembers her in the future and wants to seek justice for her, can he kill everyone in the ghost realm? Master, the old man is right. If they die in the city, everyone will know that we killed them. If it's outside, it will save us a lot of trouble. The steward agreed with the old man's idea. After the master pondered for a while, he nodded and said, "Let's do it this way. Spread the news that Sima Yue is here. I think many teleportation arrays will be broken." As long as the news was spread, even if they didn't do it, Sima Yue wouldn't be able to live. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu were in the inn. When they heard the news, they sighed helplessly. At that time, she knew that the incident in Fair Eastern City would bring trouble to her trip to the ghost realm. Now it seemed that it was just as they thought. However, how did these people know that she was in the ghost realm? Chapter 1890. 1 Second to Remember. Love Divided by You? Reads Book Web. Update fast, no pop-up window, free to read. It was not that she did not expect the news of her coming to the ghost realm to be leaked. What she did in Liao City before, although it was hidden, she was not completely sure that it would not arouse suspicion. Since CD would suspect her, there would naturally be others who would suspect her. What she was more concerned about now was how the news spread here, and whether the people outside knew that she was Sima Yue. If they knew that Sima Yue was Morongxi, would they find trouble with Moronghui? Are you worried about your adoptive father? Wu Lingyu asked. Yes, if they know that I'm Morongxi and that Moronghui has covered for me for so many years, I'm afraid that they will vent their anger on him. The incident that year was so big that the ghost clan that came over was almost completely wiped out. At that time, my cousin and the others secretly came and told me that the ghost clan hated me. Mou also said that the incident caused a lot of trouble in the ghost realm. Now that they know that I'm here, it's okay to look for me, but I'm afraid that they will look for my adoptive father. Sima Yue was a little worried. This matter is not simple. Don't you have me heir? As long as you and Morongxi appear at the same time, won't it be fine? But they have seen Xiao He and He Yan. At that time, as long as they see He Yan and the others here, they will be exposed. Sima Yue sighed. We can't let Xiao He and He Yan and the others not appear, right? Or we can only make your adoptive father so strong that no one dares to provoke him. Even if they know that he has helped you before, they won't dare to do anything to him. Sima Yue sighed. That's the only way. But these are still unknown. We have to solve the problem at hand first. Miss, let us kill the person who spread the news. As long as the news is not spread, no one will know that it's you. Black Shadow suggested. Even if the entire force is destroyed, it's useless. Sima Yue rejected his idea. Their news was given to them by others. Since others can give it to them, naturally they will give it to others. But we still can't be sure who spread it, and we don't know if this news has spread in the ghost realm. There's no point in killing 1 or 2 messengers. Then what should we do? Do you want the news to spread? We'll deal with whatever comes our way. If anyone dares to bump into us, I'll make sure they won't be able to return. Sima Yue snorted. If they wanted to take his life, that would depend on whether they had the ability to do so. After a peaceful night, they checked out and left the next morning. Before he left, he asked the shopkeeper for the location of the nearest city with a teleportation array. Our place is very remote. The shopkeeper said. If you want to use the teleportation array, the nearest city will take half a month, and you'll still need to use a good flying beast. Moreover, there are many dangers along the way. If you use our flying beasts, you can avoid those dangers. Do you have any flying beasts for rent? Sima Yue asked. I don't have any here, but there are some at the East City Gate. That shop's flying beasts are much better than others. The shopkeeper said. I got it. Thank you, shopkeeper. Sima Yue replied, returned the key, took the deposit and left. Along the way to the east of the city, they saw a shop that rented flying beasts when they were about to leave the city gate. Miss, should we rent it? Black Shadow asked. It was obvious that those people purposely pointed it out to them. If they rented the flying beasts here, their journey would not be peaceful. Sima Yue smiled. Of course. If we don't rent it, how can we let them know where we are? They came to the shop and said that they wanted to go to Dekue City. The shopkeeper eagerly introduced a few different flying beasts to them. Sima Yue chose the cheapest flying beast, paid the price, and brought the flying beast out of the city. Shopkeeper, don't tell me these people found out? Otherwise, why would they choose the cheapest flying beast? This kind of flying beast takes half the time to reach Dekue City. The shopkeeper voiced out his doubts. If someone wanted to kill them, wouldn't it be more dangerous for them to be on the road for a longer time? You're thinking too much. If they knew that someone wanted to kill them, they would choose the best flying beast to shorten the time on the road. The shopkeeper's face was filled with murderous intent. His most beloved son had been killed in Fair Eastern City. Now that he knew that it was revenge for what happened back then, he couldn't wait to kill Sima Yu with his own hands. Go spread the news. He ordered the shopkeeper and turned to enter the inner hall. However, after the shopkeeper spread the news, he was nowhere to be found. The flying beast's speed was unusually slow. After flying for a day, they did not fly far. They were bored in the beast carriage, so they took out a self-made mahjong set and started playing. When the sky turned dark, the flying beast found a place to stop. It was obvious that it wanted to rest. This flying beast is really big. It stopped without our permission. Sima Yue opened the door and saw a dense forest. She sighed. It's really a good place for an ambush. Quan and the others also got down from the beast carriage. When they heard her words, they lowered their heads and agreed. This is also a good place to fight back. We're not far away. Will those people make a move here? Black Shadow's thoughts were simpler. Since they wanted to avoid suspicion, they naturally had to stay away. They can say that it's not them. They were killed by someone else. Anyway, there are no witnesses. Sima Yue said. Since they chose this place for us, we shouldn't waste their good intentions. Let's camp here. The three men set up the tent while she was in charge of preparing food. Soon they were eating around the fire. Even after they had finished eating, those people still hadn't arrived. Just as the Black Shadow was wondering if those people would come, there was finally some movement. I didn't expect that we would meet again so soon. Sima Yue threw the chicken leg bone on the table, wiped her mouth and hands with a handkerchief and said lightly. The person who came did not expect Sima Yue to find him so easily. Although he was surprised, he still came out of the space. It was the shopkeeper of the flying beast rental shop. The shopkeeper saw that she did not change and snorted coldly. You're not surprised at all. What's there to be surprised about? When you saw me during the day, although you restrained yourself, your eyes still betrayed you. I just didn't expect that you would have no scruples and come so early. Sima Yue was still very calm in the face of his killing intent. She did not put him and his people in her eyes at all. You killed my son. I couldn't wait to kill you. Now I'll kill you and avenge my son. Chapter 1891. In 1 second, she remembered. Love divided by you? Read book web no pop-up windows free to read. He looked extremely resentful and looked at Sima Yue with undisguised hatred. He wished he could eat her flesh and drink her blood. But this did not affect Sima Yue at all. If you wanted to kill me, you should have sent more people. Sima Yue said. With so few people, it's not even enough to fill the gaps between their teeth. It's good to be confident but overconfident. Puffed, puffed, puffed. Bang, bang. Before the shopkeeper could finish his words, he saw a black shadow flash by and all the people he brought with him had their throats slit and fell behind him. With such little strength, you still dare to come here. TSK, your courage is commendable. Quan flashed in front of him. Before he could react, he felt a chill on his neck and watched his blood spurt out. He widened his eyes and looked at his blood in disbelief. He reached out to cover it, but it was in vain. Blood still flowed out from between his fingers. The rapid loss of life finally made him understand at the last moment. He had been killed before he could do anything. As for the girl that he hated so much, she didn't even move a single finger. After Juan finished dealing with the people, he burned the bodies clean. Even the blood in the soil evaporated. It was impossible to tell that someone had just died here. When the flying beast saw that its shopkeeper had been killed, it lay on the ground and trembled. Feeling a few gazes, it buried its head in the soil and did not dare to come out. It was so scared. Woo woo woo. Sima Yue saw it like this and the corners of her mouth twitched. Why did she feel that this flying beast was a little funny? Don't worry, I won't kill you for the time being. If you obediently send us to Dekue City later, you can come back alive. Otherwise, you can only accompany your shopkeeper. When the big bird heard her words, it raised its head in surprise. Its furry head was still covered in dust. If you don't clean yourself up, I'll roast you right now, Sima Yue said in disdain. Whoosh! The flying beast immediately disappeared from her sight. Its speed was much faster than during the day. For the next few days, the flying beasts behaved themselves and didn't cause them any trouble. The flying beast obediently told Sima Yue all the requirements that it had been told. Sima Yue ordered it to fly as planned. If he didn't follow the plan, how could he let those people know his whereabouts? On this day, they were surrounded again. Let me do it this time. After the Black Shadow finished speaking, he didn't even give them time to talk nonsense and directly attacked. Those people were prepared to show off in front of Sima Yue and enjoy her fear when she was alive. However, they were all killed before they could even say a word. When the flying beast saw that the Black Shadow was so powerful, it secretly rejoiced in its heart. Fortunately, it had told them. Otherwise, it would have been killed. Miss, these people are all weak. Can't you send someone stronger? Black Shadow complained after he returned. This is just the beginning. Not many people know about this yet. Furthermore, the distance between them was very far. When the time comes, there will be plenty of time for you to make a move. Sima Yue didn't think that it would always be like this. The further they went, the more powerful the people they would encounter. If it was just like this, it would be difficult for them to deal with just a few people. Moreover, when there were more people, it would be difficult for Juan and Black Shadow to make a move. Miss, when the king left, he said that we must ensure your safety and don't worry about anything else. Black Shadow repeated Ming's words, but changed the meaning in the middle. Juan also nodded in agreement. Wasn't that what the king meant when he told them to be more flexible? Don't worry. I'm here. Wu Lingyu put his arm around her shoulder and said softly. Sima Yue hadn't seen Wu Lingyu's real appearance and didn't know how strong he was. However, she believed in him. Since he said not to worry, then she wouldn't worry. When they arrived at Dekue City, she thought that they would encounter a situation where the teleportation array was broken. She didn't expect that the teleportation array here was fine, but there weren't many places to go. When the other party heard that they were going to the nearest city to the imperial capital, they received a large sum of money and let them enter the teleportation array. It wasn't until they came out that they realized that perhaps it would be better if the teleportation array was broken. When they came out of the space, they didn't know which desolate mountain they were in, and there were many underworld beasts. Hearing the roars all over the mountains, she felt that they had probably fallen into the nest of the underworld beasts. Just when the underworld beasts were about to attack, Wu Lingyu opened a space channel and disappeared from the eyes of the underworld beasts. When they came out again, they were in a nearby city. When they entered the city and asked around, they found that this place was indeed closer to the imperial capital, so they didn't go in the opposite direction, right? It was just that they probably didn't expect that those underworld beasts didn't play any role, and Wu Lingyu directly led them out. This city was the closest city to the imperial capital. Sima Yue wanted to go directly to the teleportation array, but when she saw the long line, she felt that it was impossible to leave. Sure enough, when they went to ask, the person in charge of the teleportation array directly took out a wooden sign. 3 days later, use this to line up. 3 days? So long. The steward looked up at them and stroked his little beard, then pointed at the people in the line and said, "Do you see those people? Those are the people who came to line up 4 days ago. You still have 3 days' worth in front of you." Everyone was speechless. There were actually so many people here who wanted to use the teleportation array. and the line was 3 or 4 days long. I say, do you want to line up? If not, hurry up and get out of the way. There are still people behind. Sima Yue paid the money and left with the wooden sign. The steward hooked his finger at the person next to him, asking that person to replace him. And then he left. Because they had to wait for 3 days, they went to find an inn to stay, planning to walk around the city in these 3 days to see if they could attract some bees back. However, they didn't attract any bees, but they met an acquaintance. Miss Morong. When Yu Tianran saw Sima Yue, he quickly chased after her. Sima Yue didn't know many people in the underworld, but she still remembered this Yu Tianran. He was defeated by her, and he lost openly. However, she didn't have the intention to reminisce about old times with him, but asked, "Are you calling me?" "Miss Morong, don't you remember me? I'm Yu Tianran." "I'm sorry, I don't think we've met before." "You're not Morong Shi?" Yu Tianran looked at her in astonishment. It was obviously the same face, but this unfamiliar feeling made it seem like they were not the same person. "Morong Shi? Who is she? I thought you were someone I knew, and wanted to tell you about the people from vast region being hunted down. So I've got the wrong person. Sorry, goodbye." Yu Tianran turned and left. Sima Yue's expression didn't change, but her heart sank. Something happened to the people from vast region. Chapter 1892. In 1 second she remembered, love divided by you? Read book web quick update, no pop-up window, free to read. Wu Lingyu patted her shoulder. Don't worry, let's see what's going on first. Okay. Sima Yue called out a few scarlet bees and let them follow her silently. Tianran, do you know that person? Yu Tianran's friend saw that Yu Tianran was a little disappointed and asked. I was wrong, but the two of them really look alike. If it wasn't for their different auras, I would really think that they are the same person. Yu Tianran sighed. Who are you talking about? It's the Morong Shi that I mentioned to you before. Yu Tianran said. Ever since she left in the middle of the last region competition, no one has seen her again. I don't know what happened to the people of vast region recently, but they have been being hunted down. I thought that person was Morong Shi, so I wanted to remind her, but I was wrong. It's strange, did vast region get into big trouble recently? Especially the people of the Duke Manor, they feel like they are being killed when they go out. Do you know the reason? Someone asked curiously. Who knows, we haven't seen those people. I have heard some news. A man with a mustache said. What? Quickly tell us? Speaking of which, it might really be related to that person just now. The mustache man kept them in suspense. Seeing that everyone was glaring at him, he continued. Do you know that the Dark Princess went to the human world that year? Of course. It was because she went to the human world that she was caught, and there was no news of her ever since. However, this was many years ago. Why are you bringing this up now? Rumor has it that the young miss of vast region, Morong Shi, looks 70 to 80% similar to the Dark Princess. And the Dark Princess once had a daughter in the human world who looked very similar to Morong Shi. Not only that, she also has a grudge with most of the people in the ghost world. The mustache man said. Mustache man, is what you said true? Everyone knew that the mustache man was well informed. Although they asked this, they were certain in their hearts. Could it be that the person just now was the daughter of the Dark Princess in the human world? Yu Tianran was flabbergasted. If that was the case, then it made sense why their auras were so different. What he did not know was that it was not because of the two of them, but because after the incident in the chaotic world, Sima Yue's aura had been affected by the chaotic chi and had changed. Since that person is the daughter of the Dark Princess, why does she have a grudge with the people of the Ghost Festival? You don't know about this, do you? Have you heard of the Fair Eastern City incident? I've heard of it before. It said that they were about to open up a passage to the human realm. In the end, they were stopped by someone. Everyone who went there was wiped out. You're saying that the daughter of the Dark Princess is that human from Fair Eastern City? That's right, it's her. We all know how big the impact of that incident was back then. Now that we know that she has come to the ghost realm, don't you think that this is a big deal? Moreover, Morong Shi and that woman look the same. Who knows if they really look alike, or if they are the same person? The mustached man said with interest. He liked to watch a good show. There would definitely be a good show to watch. So those people went to find trouble with Vast Region? Yu Tianran reacted. The main thing is that Morongxi hasn't appeared for a long time, right? The mustached man said. The more she doesn't appear, the more suspicious it is. Moronghui brought people to follow her to the imperial capital, right? They were chased on the way to the imperial capital. I'm afraid they haven't reached the imperial capital yet. Yu Tianran said. The last time I heard the news, it was in Wei City. Wei City, Sima Yue asked someone to inquire about it. It was not very close to Dekue City, but it was also not far. She didn't know if they would still be there after going there. Since you're worried, then let's go and see. Even if they're not there, we can still find their route. Wu Lingyu said. Anyway, they didn't have a fixed route. Since they were all going to the imperial capital, it would be the same if they followed Moronghui's route. After making the decision, they didn't even retreat from the inn. They directly used the space channel to leave the city. They found an open space, calculated the space coordinates according to the distance on the map, arranged a transmission array, and rushed over. As they expected, when they went there, they didn't find Moronghui's whereabouts. They continued to chase according to the news they got. After arranging several transmission arrays in a row, her array stones were almost exhausted. She had to find a place to buy array stones and continue to chase. In the ghost realm, the price of array stones was extremely expensive. This was also the reason why she wanted to use the transmission array instead of arranging it herself. Now, in order to find Moronghui, she had also spent a lot of money. Fortunately, these were not in vain. She finally caught up with Moronghui before he had an accident. At that time, Moronghui was fleeing with the people of Vast Region in the Tsang Mountains. Those people came in waves, making them tired to deal with them. They could only keep running to buy time. These people were all coming for Sima Yue. He knew this, so he didn't think about saying anything to these people. If they insisted on him handing over the person, where could he find her? And even if he knew, he wouldn't say anything. These people were too powerful. If they found her, he didn't know what would happen. Moronghui, I'll give you one last chance. Where is Sima Yue? The people chased them into a small valley and surrounded them from all sides, leaving them with no way to escape. Moronghui had long been prepared to fight to the death. At this moment he didn't panic. I've already said that I don't know Sima Yue. Even if you ask 10 more times, I still can't hand her over to you. Moronghui's face was calm as he estimated the possibility of rushing out in his heart. Moronghui, let's be frank. Your daughter is just a waste. How could she become a genius in a few years and enter the top 10 of the region competition? She looks the same as your daughter. How likely do you think this is? The people who came to investigate Moronghui's affairs were almost finished. My daughter is naturally the best. You have to put her and Sima Yue together. What else do I have to say? Moronghui snorted. You don't have the person, but you do have a life. If we catch you, aren't you afraid that Sima Yue won't come for you? The people who came sneered and waved their hands. Leave Moronghui alive and kill the others. I'm sorry for involving you. I'll hold them back for a while. You try to escape. Duke. Master. We'll protect you. Don't say anything more. You heard it too. They won't take my life. Your lives are more important. Moronghui reprimanded. None of you can leave today. All of you attack. Leave no one else alive. Just when the two sides were about to fight, a clear voice came. If you want to kill me, come and find me directly. What's the use of these tricks behind my back? Chapter 1893. 1 second to remember. Love divided by you? Read book web. Update fast, no pop-up window, free to read. Moronghui's eyes lit up when he heard this voice. But then he started to worry again, wishing that he didn't hear this. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu came out of the space tunnel. What was shocking was that there were two identical versions of her. Father. Mi-Er, who was disguised as Morongxi, saw Moronghui and flew over, throwing herself into his arms. Moronghui was stunned. He looked at Mi-Er, then looked at Sima Yue. Duke Morong, if it wasn't for your daughter coming to find me, I wouldn't know that I've brought you so much trouble. Sima Yue said apologetically. You are? Morong Hui was stunned. The sudden appearance of these two people, and something about Morong she going to look for her. How could he not understand what was going on? And why was her aura different? Where did this person who looked exactly like her come from? Sima Yue looked around at the people below, the corner of her mouth raised, and said confidently, I'm the Sima Yue they're looking for. Sima Yue, you're finally willing to appear. The other party looked at Sima Yue with hatred. I've been walking outside, it's just that you didn't have the ability to find me. But then again, how could a capable person implicate the innocent, thinking of using such a sinister method to lure me out? Sima Yue looked at the other party contemptuously. I've killed a lot of people recently. Same old rules, report your names. Yu Dynasty's In family In Shi. The leading man reported his name, Sima Yue. You killed my brother. Today I'll use your name to pay tribute to him. Yu Dynasty's In family. I'm sorry, I've never heard of it. Sima Yue said. Sai, since you want to take revenge on me, let's not talk so much nonsense. I hate it when people use such despicable methods. Xiaoqi, Huahua, you two play with them. Little Seven and Huahua came out. Without saying a word, they went up and attacked. In addition, Black Shadow and the others had deliberately held back, so those people were not killed immediately. In the end, a small number of them managed to escape. There's no need to chase after them, Sima Yue said when she saw that the people from vast regions still wanted to chase after them. As she gave the order, those people subconsciously stopped. Then he realized why he had to listen to her. There's no need to chase. Morong Hui said so, and everyone really stopped. Prince Morong, may I have a word with you? Sima Yue asked. A-class equals __cf email _ref equals /cdncgi/l/ email protection, datic female equals 10cd9f50dba5 email protected. Morong Hui had questions in his heart and wanted to ask her, so he asked the rest of the people to clean up the bodies, and he and Morong Lin followed Sima Yue to a farther place. Of course, Mi-Er had been holding his hand and followed them, and only let go when they were far away. Shir, what's going on? Morong Hui looked at Sima Yue, not Mi-Er beside him. Sima Yue didn't expect that her aura had changed, and there was a Mi-Er beside her who was the same as before, but he still recognized her at once. Mu. A-class equals __cf email _ref equals /cdncgi/l/ email protection, datic female equals 4499cb0492ee. Email protected, knew what she was thinking and said, the way you look at me is the same as before, and although her aura is the same as yours before, even holding hands is a little unnatural. Father, you really know me. Sima Yue smiled and admitted her identity. Morong Lin on the side looked at Sima Yue in shock. This is the miss? Then who is this person beside her? Miss, where have you been this year? Why are there two of you? He asked his doubts. This is the illusion of my contracted beast. Sima Yue talked about what happened after she left the River of Forgetfulness, and then continued. I let Mi-Er follow you for the rest of the time, first to protect your safety, and second to temporarily remove your relationship with me. As long as Mi-Er and I appear at the same time, they will not come to you again. When they become stronger in the future, even if they know that it is me, they will not have the courage to find trouble again. So you let those people go? Well, when they escape this time, they will definitely spread the news of my appearance here. And the fact that Mi-Er and I appeared at the same time will also be spread, so that they know that you and I are not related. Sima Yue has never been merciful to the people who killed her. If it weren't for this, would those people still want to escape alive? Huahua and Little Seven were the first to disagree. What about you? Morong Hui frowned. If those people want to kill you, and you just appear like this, how many people will come to kill you? It doesn't matter. When the news spreads, I will appear in front of people a few times with you, and then we will go our separate ways. Sima Yue said. I'm not talking about you. If you appear like this, if those people come to kill you, Father, don't worry, they are here. Sima Yu glanced at the person behind her. Huan has never shown his face with me before, so others won't associate him with me. As for Black Shadow, needless to say. Also, Father, this is Ling Yu. He also came to the ghost realm? Murong Hui had heard Sima Yu mention Wu Lingyu a long time ago, but she only said that he was his senior brother, and did not say that he was from the devil realm. But wasn't he in the human realm? Why did he come to the ghost realm? He came to the ghost realm to find me. Sima Yu looked at Wu Lingyu happily and bowed to Murong Hui. Although Murong Hui's status was not high, and his strength was not very strong, because he was someone she recognized, he also recognized him and bowed seriously. Good. Although Murong Hui didn't know what Wu Lingyu had experienced, it must not have been easy. To be able to do this for her, it meant that he was also a trustworthy person. Father, then let's pack up and go back to the city. We can talk about other things later. Sima Yu suggested. Just as she thought, after the Yin clansmen escaped, they immediately returned to the city and hid. On one hand, they contacted the clan to ask for reinforcements. On the other hand, they spread the news that Sima Yu was here. Many people were tracking the whereabouts of Sima Yu. Now that they knew that she was here, there would naturally be people who would come to settle accounts with her. However, the fact that Sima Yu and Murong Shi appeared at the same time really surprised others for a while. At the same time, it also made those who wanted to make a move on Murong Hui give up. When Sima Yu and the others returned to the city, she and Wu Lingyu were together, and Mi-Er was holding Murong Hui's wrist as before. The two very similar people walked together, causing a commotion at the city gate. Sima Yu wanted to stay for a while longer, but when she saw the commotion at the city gate, she proposed to Murong Hui. Duke Murong, now that we are in the city, we will take our leave. Murong Hui wanted to ask her to stay, but he also found that it was not suitable here. In the eyes of everyone, he and Sima Yu should not be familiar with each other. He nodded and watched Sima Yu and Wu Lingyu leave together. Chapter 1894. Father, let's find an inn to stay at. You, Uncle Lin, and the people in the county are all injured. We can forget about going to the imperial capital for 2 days. Mi-Er shook his arm to get his attention. She saved us. If there is a chance, we must repay her well. Do you understand? Murong Hui said this to express his attitude. If something happened to Sima Yu, vast region would also help. I know. Let's go and thank her later. Healing your wounds is more important. Mi-Er's performance was no different from Sima Yu in the past. Most people would not be able to tell that it was a different person. On the other side, Sima Yu and the other three went to the biggest inn and asked for the best room. Black Shadow and Huan went to their respective rooms, and Wu Lingyu escorted her to her room. I don't think it'll be peaceful tonight. Wu Lingyu leaned against the door. Why don't I join you? Sima Yu placed her hand on his chest and smiled. Stop it. If you're here, why would those people come? It's the same. I'll just restrain my aura. What if those people come and we don't make it in time? Wu Lingyu squeezed through her door and climbed onto her bed. He lay on his side and looked at her. Excuse. Sima Yu rolled her eyes, but she still closed the door, silently agreeing to let him stay tonight. What a waste of my room money. How about I pay the debt with my body? This way you won't lose out. Wu Lingyu said with a smile. I'm going to call my father out. Sima Yu pursed her lips and smiled. This guy was clearly the last line of defense, yet he still dared to say such words. He was asking for a beating. Sure enough, after hearing what she said, he smiled embarrassedly, but he still patted the empty seat in front of him, indicating for her to go over. Sima Yu walked over. He reached out and pulled her to lie down in front of him. He took advantage of the situation and hugged her from behind. Yu, I want to contact the Devil Realms people here. Wu Lingyu said. Why do you want to contact them? Sima Yu played with his fingers and asked casually. Now that I've contacted them, I'll be able to go directly when it's time to save mother-in-law. That's fine too, but you have to make sure that they are still loyal to you. If the news of you being in the ghost realm spreads, and the Devil King does something to your body in the Devil realm, or takes the opportunity to do something to your people, it will be troublesome. Okay. The two of them then chatted about other things. In the middle of the night, there was finally some movement. Are you sure she's here? Of course I'm sure. The best room they're staying in is the courtyard at the back. It's quite far from other places. Go and surround that courtyard. Don't let her escape. A group of people flew over, but before they could surround the courtyard, Black Shadow and Huan appeared. After waiting for so long, it's finally here. Black Shadow glanced at those people and said with some disappointment, "Why are there always people of this level? Every time I get excited, I break off." Those people did not expect that they would be discovered as soon as they arrived. They had already restrained their auras, but these two people still appeared immediately, as if they were waiting for them. Let's just do it. Huan was less talkative and directly attacked. Sima Yuyue and Wu Lingyu were in the room, listening to the movements outside. She turned around and poked his chest with her finger. "Didn't you say that if you were here, you would be able to detect danger earlier? Huan and the others have all gone out. What are you still doing here?" "I'm responsible for protecting you inside. I'm enough here." Wu Lingyu grabbed her hand and bit it. Sima Yue glared at him and muttered, "You're old and indecent." "Although I'm indecent, I'm not old yet. I know that you want to be with me until we're old. Well, when we're old, I'll let you see my old and indecent side." Sima Yue. She really wanted to ask, "Where's your shame?" Wu Lingyu was calm, but she could not stay in the room and ignore it. She got up and Wu Lingyu got up with her. The two opened the door and came to the courtyard. The enchantment isolated the power of the battle outside, so they did not need to do anything. Sima Yue. Seeing her, the people in the air gritted their teeth. Sima Yue glanced at them and did not give them any expression. She was not to blame for what happened back then. She did not feel that she had done anything wrong. Even if she knew that she had to come to the ghost realm and had to do it all over again, she would make the same choice. And these people had lost their lives because of their greed. Their clansmen and friends wanted to avenge them. She felt that it was understandable. At this time, it all depended on who was stronger. At the same time, she also knew that one of the reasons for this situation was because of the Ghost King's attitude. After Yu Kalua was captured and brought back to the Ghost Realm, there was no trace of her. The outside world said that the Ghost King was too disappointed in her and killed her. Since he could even lay his hands on his most beloved daughter, he would definitely not care about this granddaughter of his who had human blood flowing in her. Since that was the case, the Ghost King would not blame them for killing her. That was why they were so daring. If the Ghost King had a little attitude towards her, she would not have fallen to the point where she was being chased by so many people. So, did she really have to look for him? Would he really tell her where her mother was? She did not have much confidence in this grandfather whom she had never met. Wu Lingyu held her hand. "Don't be afraid, we'll look for her ourselves. Besides, you should trust your cousin." Although he spent most of his time in the ghost realm in the River of Forgetfulness, he had heard of Deja's name as the god of slaughter. Naturally, he also heard of his relationship with Yu Kaluo. Even if the entire ghost realm gave up on her, Deja would not. Yes. Sima Yue nodded. Cousin was able to obtain the 100 Ghosts banner and go to the immortal land to collect the ancient souls in order to save my mother. He can naturally be trusted. I'm just afraid that there are some forces that he can't compete with. At this moment, Deja was furious at the news he received. Di Lu and the rest were below. They did not dare to breathe too hard, afraid that they would attract his attention. This Yue, how could she be so careless? She actually exposed her whereabouts. Have you found out what I asked you to investigate? Who was the one who released the news of her coming to the ghost realm? It's Aniheim's doing. Di Lu stiffened his neck and said, during the Great Yu Dynasty's county competition last year, Mrs. Performance was too outstanding, and she happened to encounter that incident, so she was connected. Aniheim is naturally suspicious. She felt that it was not Morong Shi. Even if there was no evidence, she would still kill Mississippi. But because Morong Shi's position in the Great Yu Dynasty is not low, and Great Yu Wangya is not one of her people, so she came up with such a method. Chapter 1895. Bang. Deja slammed his palm on the tea table beside him and said through gritted teeth, "This Anaheim. Sooner or later, I'll kill her." "Master, let's talk about Anaheim later. Miss is in a very bad situation now," Di Lu said. "Our subordinates reported that Miss has already encountered several assassination attempts. Anaheim has been moving a lot lately. You guys stay here and keep an eye on her. Di Lu, you come with me. I want to see who dares to touch my cousin." Deja waved his hand. "But master, if you don't preside over the matters here, I'm afraid it will not be easy to suppress Anaheim." Di stood out and said. He was in charge of assisting Deja in handling these matters, so he knew the current situation best. Anaheim had been making a lot of moves recently, and many of their hidden forces had been uprooted. Some of the wavering forces had also joined her because of her recent actions. "That's right, master. Although young Mrs. situation is a little dangerous, the imperial capital situation is more important." Dier stood out and said. They also liked the Dark Princess, but they had never been in touch with Sima Yue, so they didn't have deep feelings for her. Although they also felt the need to protect her, compared to the current situation, they would rather have Deja stay in the capital. "Master, there is less than a year before the competition between the empires begins. Many Wuxia had brought their people along. If we let the Anaheim take the initiative and pull the Wuxia over, our camp will be much weaker." Di Sen also opened his mouth. Furthermore, some of the other princes are also restless. Although the Anaheim is suppressing them, they are still restless. Leaving the imperial capital at this time is really not a wise move. If something happens to Yue, then all our efforts over the years will be in vain. Deja's attitude towards his loyal subordinates was slightly better, but his face was still terrifyingly dark. He looked at the Ghost Master who had been silent all this while and said, "Ghost Master, what do you think?" The Ghost Master raised his head when he was called, but his face was still hidden under the cloak. "I can understand your love for Sima Yue, and I know you're worried about her current situation. But based on the current situation, you won't be as useful there as you are here," the Ghost Master said slowly. Seeing that Deja was about to get angry, he raised his hand to stop him and continued, "Besides, you are not the most suitable person to pick her up." "I'm not suitable? Could it be that you want Mou to go?" Deja asked. The Ghost Master shook his head. In the eyes of outsiders, Lord Mou has a certain connection with Anaheim, and he hasn't been in the imperial capital recently. "Then who are you talking about?" Deja didn't know who was still in contact with Sima Yue, and would be willing to go out and pick her up at this time. "Master, you forgot that Miss has other relatives. There is one who has been very concerned about her." The Ghost Master reminded him. "You mean, grandfather?" Because Sima Yue didn't agree before, Deja didn't even think of telling the Ghost Master about her after he came back, so he didn't think of him at this time. But grandfather is in seclusion and hasn't appeared for a long time. Because of this, Anaheim has been so rampant recently. The Ghost Master is not in seclusion. As long as you tell him about Sima Yue, he will go if he cares about the Dark Princess, the Ghost Master said. But what if he doesn't go? Deja didn't have 100% confidence in the Ghost Master. "We can let Di Lu go first. If the king doesn't go, we can also protect Mississippi," the Ghost Master said. "It's hard to say what the king's attitude is about what happened in the past. We can use this opportunity to test his attitude." But Deja was still worried. "Master, with the king's character, even if he doesn't go to find Miss, he won't kill her." The Ghost Master was still confident about the Ghost Master. "Moreover, you said that Miss has some opinions about the king. If the king can go and see her now, it's a good way to break the ice." Deja hesitated for a while, then stood up and said, "Di Lu, take some people to find Yue now and make sure she's safe. I'll go to the Imperial Palace now and tell grandfather about this." However, it wasn't easy to enter the Imperial Palace. The people guarding the outermost area were Anaheim's people. No matter what the reason was, they didn't want her to go in. Deja just sneered at the people who blocked his way. He pulled out his sword and killed the two people. "I think I've been quiet for too long. That's why you've forgotten my name." After saying this, The guards behind him didn't dare to stop him anymore. They went all the way to the Ghost Master's room. "General, the king is in seclusion. He said that he won't see anyone." This time, it was the king's personal guards who came out. Even Deja didn't dare to kill them. "Please tell grandfather that I have something to talk to him about." Deja politely bowed to the two guards. "General, the king said that he won't see anyone." The guards still stood in the same place. They didn't intend to go in and report. "If you insist, don't blame me for being rude." Deja was worried about Sima Yoyue's safety. Naturally, he wouldn't be nice to these people who blocked his way. He had already told them nicely. If they didn't agree, he wouldn't mind using peaceful means before resorting to force. General were the king's personal guards. They naturally knew what was going on outside. However, they were different from the people outside. "Master, you can't." De pulled Deja, who was about to go berserk, and shook his head. Deja looked at De and then at the two guards. He pursed his lips and shouted, "Grandfather, I'm here to talk to you about Yue. She's being chased." Just as he finished speaking, the tightly shut door opened. A voice sounded, "Come in." When Anaheim heard the news and rushed over, she only saw Deja's figure entering the room and the door slowly closing. This was the first time Deja entered the Ghost King's cultivation area. He wasn't in the mood to admire the scenery here. He walked along the corridor and arrived at the Ghost King's cultivation area. The Ghost King looked about the same size as Deja. However, when he opened his tightly shut eyes, a powerful aura rushed towards him. "You're saying that Yue is being chased?" The Ghost King asked. "Yes. You're still paying attention to the human realm." "Grandfather, Yue has already arrived in the ghost realm." Deja saw the Ghost King frowning. He pursed his lips and said, "Yue has already been in the ghost realm for a few years. Everything was fine before. Recently, her identity was announced. Many forces are trying to kill her. From what I know, she has already been chased more than 10 times. I actually didn't know that she had already arrived in the ghost realm." The Ghost King stared at him. His voice was emotionless. Chapter 1896. In 1 second, she remembered, "Love divided by you?" Read book web quick update. No pop-up window, free to read. Deja knew that the Ghost King was angry. He lowered his head and said softly, "Yue didn't want me to tell you." When he said this, the Ghost King's anger dissipated a lot, and his eyes were sad. "She's blaming me, right?" Deja was silent for a while, and said in a low voice, "She is just not sure." "Is that so? Like how you were covered in spikes in the past." The Ghost King didn't look at him, and his eyes were empty. But he didn't plan to let Deja answer him, and continued to ask, "What's the matter you're talking about?" After Yue came to the ghost realm, because she looked like Morongshi, she happened to see Morongshi being killed, so she used her identity to live in the ghost realm. Deja told him about Sima Yue. Since she has an identity on the surface, why was it exposed? When Yue was in the immortal land, she killed Yudu, and the ghost Empress had sent people to the human realm to kill her. And you know what happened in Fair Eastern City? It was also destroyed by her. Now that people know that she came to the ghost realm, they naturally want to take revenge on her. Deja said, originally with her identity, those people didn't dare to touch her. But he didn't finish his sentence, but the Ghost King understood what he meant. But because he didn't say anything, and because this news was spread by Anaheim, it represented her attitude, so those people were even more unscrupulous. "I know you can leave." The Ghost King waved his hand and let him leave. Deja hesitated for a moment, and didn't ask if he would go and save Sima Yue, but after he left he asked people to keep an eye on the situation here. "Master, after you went in, Anaheim came over." Dee saw him coming out, and went forward to say, "That woman." When he mentioned Anaheim, Deja was furious, and couldn't wait to kill her immediately. "Master, will the king go and find Miss Yue?" "I don't know. I can't guess my grandfather's thoughts," Deja said, but as the Ghost Master said, even if he doesn't look for her, he won't kill her. At the very least, he didn't sense any killing intent from the Ghost King. "Pay more attention to Di Lu. Let me know if there's any news." Deja ordered as he walked out. Dealing with Anaheim is one thing, but her safety is more important. Do you understand? Yes, master. Dee knew that Deja was reminding them not to neglect Sima Yue because of the current situation, especially not to hide anything from him. He was actually curious. What was Sima Yue capable of that made his master care so much about her? He thought that the reason was definitely not just because she was Yukuluo's daughter. On the other side of the palace, Anaheim looked at the guard who came to report and snorted. This Deja is always going against me, and the Ghost King actually allows him to do as he pleases. I don't know why he came in this time. You bunch of useless trash, you can't even find out why he came in. Ghost Queen, please calm down. After he went in, the king personally set up a barrier. We can't hear what's going on inside. The two guards outside are also the king's men. They can't reveal anything to us. The guard who was kneeling on the ground was very nervous. He didn't know how he would be punished. Anaheim obviously knew that the barrier was set up by the Ghost King. She saw it with her own eyes, so she was even angrier. The guard who couldn't find out anything was naturally angered. Useless trash. With a wave of her hand, the guard immediately flew out and hit the wall, leaving behind a pool of blood and a lifeless corpse. The palace maids in the palace calmly came up to clean up the corpse. They were already used to this kind of thing. A man who sat below waited for the guard's corpse to be moved out. When he saw that Anaheim had vented some of her anger, he said, Ghost Queen, please calm down. This Deja won't be able to jump around for long. Don't be angry because of him. Wait until we catch all those Wangya in our hands. I don't need to do anything for the Deja. The D clan will come out and take care of him. Anaheim said. Ghost Queen is wise. The man said, Ghost Queen, that Sima Yue has already appeared. Are you sure it's her and not Morongshi? Anaheim asked. It's her. Morongshi appeared with her, so I can confirm her identity. The man said. Appeared together? It seems like this moo. A class equals __cf email _ref equals /cdncgi/l/ email protection. Datic female equals 1AC7955AC8A8. Email protected, couldn't withstand the pressure from those people. Are they together? No, it seems that they are not familiar with each other. They separated after entering the city. This Sima Yue seems to be protected by experts. Those who went to assassinate her, none of them survived. She just came to the ghost world not long ago, right? How can there be experts protecting her? Can you tell which side they are from? Anaheim did not expect that Sima Yue would have someone by her side. Under the situation where she released the news, there were still people who dared to protect her. It seemed that they were tired of living. However, the man was silent. Anaheim's face sank. You don't know? Ghost Queen, it's not that the people below are incompetent. It's just that those people did not use any force that we know of. You mean the people around her are not from the ghost world? It shouldn't be. It said that those two people also use ghost chi. It's not from the human world or the devil world. The man did not see it with his own eyes, so he was not very sure. Ghost Queen, I want to personally go and see where those two people came from. Blue River, you can go, but you have to pay attention to your own safety. If something happens to you, there won't be anyone to train such a good death soldier for me. Anaheim said. Blue River, as Anaheim's right-hand man, was in charge of training the undead and other things that could not be exposed. If something happened to him, it would be a great loss for her. I know. Blue River cherished his own life. I'll bring more people. Bring those people with you. If the people protecting her aren't normal people, it'll be easier to deal with them. Anaheim warned. Blue River knew who she was talking about and nodded. I know. Then you can go. Anaheim waved her hand. Blue River stood up and withdrew. Anaheim sat alone in the main hall. She took out a bell and gently stroked it. Duer, mother will definitely avenge you. My pitiful child, you were killed at such a young age. Hateful that slut only had one daughter, Yukuluo. What kind of family background did she have? Mother didn't even have the chance to avenge you. However, fortunately, you left mother with something to remember. Your child has already grown up and looks like you. It's just that he always asks me why he didn't have a father when he was born. Or should Imperial Mother tell him about you? Ghost Queen. Not good. A palace maid hastily ran in from outside. Little Highness is missing. Chapter 1897. Prince Yudu's posthumous child, the Ghost Empress darling, the Little Highness of the Ghost race, had disappeared. The entire palace was almost turned upside down. Those who were responsible for taking care of His Highness were beheaded. Many people went in and out of the palace to look for him. The person in question, Yu Hao, was already far away from the imperial capital. Your Highness, it's too dangerous for us to come out like this. Yu Hao's personal bodyguard, Fei Nong, was very worried. What's there to worry about? Doesn't that mean no one knows my identity? Even if we meet with danger, as long as I say Imperial Grandmother's identity, who would dare to be disrespectful to me? Yu Hao was not sensitive to danger, so when he heard the guard mention this, he said impatiently. Just as Onihime had said, Yu Hao looked very much like his father. His whole body was round and chubby. Although he was a little prince, he was still more than 100 years old. We're leaving just like that. I wonder how the palace is doing. However, if we leave just like that, I'm sure they won't be able to withstand the Ghost Empress fury. Yu Hao's personal maid Emolu said. Those people are all useless. If Grandmother Wang wants to punish them, then punish them. After all, Grandmother Wang will arrange new people for me when I go back. Yu Hao did not have any feelings for the people who had served him for so long. He clearly knew that if he sneaked out, those people would not be able to escape death, but he still did it. But, Your Highness, where are we going? Emolu asked. Go find someone. Yu Hao's gaze turned gloomy. Grandmother Wang thought that if she didn't tell me, I wouldn't know how father died. This Sima Yue dared to kill my father and come to the ghost world. Does she really think that no one can do anything to her? You want to kill Sima Yue? Emolu covered his mouth in shock. But I heard that Sima Yue is very powerful. Many people who went to kill her died. She's only a few years older than me. How powerful can she be? Yu Hao did not take Sima Yue seriously at all. He felt that those were just rumors. But the people around him are indeed powerful. Emolu said. What if they accidentally injure His Little Highness? What should we do? Don't worry. Grandmother Wang will send someone to protect me if she finds out that I'm missing. Yu Hao could see through Anaheim's heart very clearly. Otherwise, he wouldn't dare to do such a thing. Emolu, don't worry. His Highness knows what to do. We just need to take good care of His Highness. Yu Hao's other bodyguard, Sanji, was the most relaxed. As long as he mentioned the young Highness name, who wouldn't know that he was the Ghost Empress treasure? Who would dare to make a move on him? Unless they wanted to be exterminated. Wei Lu and Fei Nong couldn't help but worry, but there was nothing they could do. They couldn't dissuade His Highness, and they couldn't stay in the palace. Since he was already out, he could only take one step at a time. Therefore, the fearless four stepped into the abyss step by step. Onihime soon found out about Yu Hao's whereabouts. But just as Yu Hao thought, she didn't ask anyone to capture him. Instead, she sent a lot of people to protect him. Sima Yue didn't know about the bloody storm in the imperial capital. At this time, she was blocked by a group of people on the road. She didn't know how many times she had been assassinated. Those people didn't learn their lesson. Didn't they know that the people who came before were already dead? Every time they sent these shrimp soldiers, it was really a waste of their energy. Who's going to solve it this time? Sima Yue asked. Huan and Black Shadow didn't move. These people came several times every day and they were tired of it. The two of them didn't move. Wu Lingyu smiled and said, Then I'll do it this time. Every time it was the two of them. He should also show off his skills. He flew into the air and looked at those people. He didn't talk nonsense with them. He turned his hands up and 2 streams of water came out of his palms. Then the water flow became bigger and bigger. Like 2 floods, it rushed towards those people and swept them all in. At first, those people didn't put Wu Lingyu's water in their eyes. They thought it was just a simple water attribute spiritual technique. When they were swept in by the water, they found that it was not ordinary water at all. Not only could they not float in it, the water was also aggressive, making them unable to resist at all. What the hell? This guy actually brought the water of the river of forgetfulness. How come I didn't know? Black Shadow looked at Wu Lingyu in horror. He followed him every day. How come he didn't know that he brought the river of forgetfulness with him? This is not the water of the river of forgetfulness. It should be the water of the dragon's eye. Because he has the dragon's eye, he can bring out the water in it at will. Huan guessed. That's true. Sima Yue knew that Huan must have guessed it. Miss, you already knew? Black Shadow asked her. I know, but this is the first time I've seen it. Sima Yue said. I thought it was just a little bit of water. I didn't expect it to be so much. Miss, you already knew, but you didn't tell us. Black Shadow looked at her aggrievedly. Now that she had Wu Lingyu, she didn't tell them anything. Their position in her heart had dropped a lot. Sima Yue glanced at Black Shadow, and he immediately put away his expression, not daring to show any more. Mrs. So fierce. Huan turned his gaze to the side in disgust. How embarrassing. Wu Lingyu quickly finished off all the people. When he took back the water, there were only corpses left in the open space, and not a single drop of water was left. When you made your move, the scene was too spectacular. Black Shadow commented. It was flashy but not practical. I agree. Huan nodded. Both of them directly attacked. If you wanted to make such a big scene, it would be useless to make these fancy moves. You like it. Wu Lingyu defeated the two of them with a single sentence. Sima Yue smiled. I didn't expect it to be so powerful. This Longan is also a good thing. It's quite convenient. Wu Lingyu said, and released a flame, burning all the corpses to ashes. We can't go on like this. Sima Yue said. These people come once in a while, and it's so annoying. We have to find a way to solve it all at once. We're almost at the capital. When we get there, there won't be so many people. Wu Lingyu said. Sigh, I didn't expect that I would be hated by everyone. Sima Yue laughed self-deprecatingly. Although I don't think it's a big deal, it's still annoying to hinder the process of saving my mother. Someone's coming. Huan reminded. Again? There's really no end to this. The Black Shadow wailed. However, they soon found that the people who came were not people who wanted to kill Yue, but Morong Hui and the others who they hadn't seen for some time. Mi Air came back soon after they separated, and Sima Yue didn't know why they were looking for her. Yue, something happened. Mu Data, email protected /**** came to say this. /26/26720/ Chapter 1898. In 1 second, she remembered. Love divided by you? Read book web no pop-up window free to read. Father, what happened? Sima Yue saw his panicked expression and wondered what could make him change his expression. Those people have gathered together and are preparing to attack you together. A class equals __cf email _ ref equals /cdncgi/l/ email protection. Email protected, said the news that he had heard. His heart was trembling. Black Shadow and Huan looked at each other. Finally, something powerful was about to happen. Father, don't panic. Sima Yue grabbed his arm and calmed him down. Mu. A class equals __cf email _ ref equals /cdncgi/l/ email protection. Email protected didn't want to panic, but when he thought of the news he received, he couldn't calm down. Those people have gathered a lot of forces. Because too many people have been killed by you recently, when they heard the call, they naturally flocked over. When I received the news, it was said that thousands of people had already gathered. Thousands of people, not dozens or hundreds of people. And that was when he just received the news. Now that a few days had passed, he didn't know how many people had gathered. Just thinking about it sent chills down his spine. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. It seems that these people are finally willing to use their big move. It wasn't that there weren't any experts among the people who came before, but in front of Huan and Black Shadow, they were not enough. Obviously they also knew this, and they knew that only Huan and Black Shadow were slightly more powerful. They couldn't have fewer people, but with more people they could always kill them. Yue, hurry up and run. If they really find you, you'll be in danger. A-class equals __CF email ref equals /CDNCGI/L/email protection. Datic female equals D70A58971C62. Email protected. Father, don't be anxious. Sima Yoyue's calm demeanor made him even more anxious. He wanted to drag her away immediately. But she was really not in a hurry. Not to mention that Huan and the others had the underworld behind them. Even with little Z, she could still escape from the siege of these people. Morong Hui saw that she was not in a hurry, and even the other 3 people were not in a hurry. He sighed and said, "Forget it, if you are not in a hurry, I am not in a hurry either. Anyway, I'm following you. Don't even think about pushing me away this time." Father. Sima Yue looked at him emotionally. At this moment, he still chose to be with her. He was handing his life over to her. Don't let me go. A-class equals __CF email ref equals /CDNCGI/L/email protection. Datic female equals for 29FCD0286FD. Email protected. Light looked at her firmly. I know what you think. You think that you will drag me down, but I have nothing to be dragged down by anymore. The people I miss most in my life are Shier's mother and her, but both of them are gone now. Fortunately, I have you, so I didn't collapse when I lost Shi. If something happens to you again, then I don't know if I can still hold on. Instead of letting me collapse in the future, it's better to let me fight with you. Father. Sima Yue took his arm. Well, I won't drive you away. You are my adoptive father. Of course I want you to help me. That's right. Morong Hui patted her hand and said, Life and death are not a big deal. It's good to have father. Sima Yue rubbed against his shoulder and said happily. Princess Morong, do you know the time and place of those people? Black Shadow asked. Morong Hui saw their excited look and blurted out. You can't be thinking of. Black Shadow nodded. You're right, it's exactly what you think. Morong Hui. He looked at Yue and the others. Why did he feel that she had become crazy with these people now? Well, since they wanted to be crazy, then let's be crazy together. He had lived for so long, except for taking Shier's mother, he had never been crazy. Even if he died like this, it would be a crazy death. I heard that they are going to come together in 10 days. The gathering place is not far from here in Yangcheng. Yangcheng, isn't our next stop Yangcheng? Black Shadow said. In that case, let's go according to the original plan. Okay. Sima Yue felt that this was a good opportunity. Those people always came in waves. If they could solve it once and for all, it would be good to give those people a wake-up call. In the future, if they wanted to come, they would have to first weigh whether they had the ability. It should be a lot quieter later. But father, will the people of Vast Region also go? Morong Hui looked at the people of Vast Region. These people had followed him through life and death. This time in his eyes there was no way out. If he brought them along, they would definitely die. He could ask to follow Sima Yue, but he couldn't ask others to die with him. However, if they followed, they might be able to win more life for Sima Yue. So for the first time he hesitated. As a result, before he could speak, the people of Vast Region shouted, Duke, we are the people of Vast Region in life and in death. We are the ghosts of Vast Region. That's right, I didn't expect it to be Mississippi. We have to protect Miss. Although they didn't quite understand what was going on before, they understood now. Sima Yue was Morong Shi, the young miss who had changed for the better. They were wondering how a person could change after losing her memory. It turned out that it was a different person. But what they liked was her, not her identity. She used to be so good to them. How could they abandon her now because of danger? Sima Yue wanted them not to go with her, but before she could finish, she was interrupted by those people. Miss, you used to be good to us. If you let us go now, we will fall into a situation of disloyalty. We want to follow you, so let us go together. Gu Zipping said. Sima Yue originally wanted to say that if they didn't go, she would be better. But when she saw them looking at her passionately, as if they were going to die for her, she swallowed the words that were about to come out of her mouth. She looked at Wu Lingyu and the others. Wu Lingyu shrugged. She could do whatever she wanted. She pursed her lips and replied, "All right then. You can follow me, but you must promise that without me, no one can act rashly. If anyone can't do it, then leave as soon as possible. We will listen to Miss." Gu Zipping promised everyone, as long as they could follow her. The black shadow stood beside Huan with his hands crossed over his chest. When he saw the excited look on these people's faces, he went up to Huan and said, "Are these people crazy? This is a matter of losing their lives, yet they still want to get involved. I've lived long enough to see this." Huan stared at him strangely. The black shadow stared back and said, "What, haven't you heard me say something new? What do you think these people are thinking? Their brain structure is different from ordinary people. Otherwise, why would they rush to die for such a thing? This is the charm of Mississippi. Like you probably won't be able to experience it in your life." Huan said lightly. Not to mention these people. Weren't the two of them in the same mood? Chapter 1899. 1 second to remember. Love divided by you. Read book web no pop-up window. Free to read. Sima Yue led a group of people to Yangqing slowly. As for the people who appeared from time to time on the road, as long as they didn't disturb them, they pretended not to see them. It was really too rare to have peace and quiet. They sat on the flying beasts, feeling uneasy. This time, they might really not be able to return. "Father, eat some fruit." Sima Yue took out some fruits and distributed them to everyone, then gave one to Morong Hui. "Yue, I know you've always been a child with ideas. Can you tell me the truth? Why didn't you run away?" Sima Yue took a spirit fruit and stuffed it into his hand. She sat down beside him and said, "Father, you've seen Huan and Heiying's fighting power. The two of them are very powerful, but there are a lot of people. It's enough to take some of them to delay them. A-class equals __CF email_ref equals /CDNCGI/L/email protection. Datic female equals 3AE7B57AF18F. Email protected. Father, I was able to stop the Ghost Clan from entering the Ghost Realm in Fair Eastern City. Naturally, I used the same method to let them know what is enough. If they can settle down and not find trouble with me, everyone will be more relaxed in the future. If it doesn't work this time, then I don't mind doing the Fair Eastern City incident again." Sima Yue also wanted to solve this matter, so that they wouldn't always find trouble with her in the future. If it doesn't work, then use strength to let them recognize the reality. Morong Hui looked at her, and thought of her spirit beast that could only attract lightning tribulation. He suddenly understood her thoughts. If those people had to do something, she would attract lightning tribulation. At that time, there would be so many people together, it was unimaginable what the lightning tribulation would become. And she had little purple, so the lightning tribulation wouldn't do anything to her, but those people might not. Thinking of the last time he saw her being struck by lightning, and then thinking of the lightning falling on his body, he couldn't help but shudder. He silently mourned for those people in his heart for 2 minutes. Sure enough, this little guy didn't move, but once he moved he would definitely crush them to pieces. "So, Father, when the time comes, don't come near me for the time being. If anything happens, I'll regret it to death. When the time comes you can bring people to meet me outside." Sima Yue smiled at him, and Morong Hui felt like he had seen a little devil. However, after knowing her plans, he did not request to stay by her side. At that time, those people wouldn't even be able to avoid her, let alone hurt her. Now that he was relaxed, he was in the mood to eat the fruit. He took a big bite, as if he wanted to dissolve all his worries. At the same time, he didn't forget to scold her. "You child. Why didn't you tell me earlier? You made me worry for nothing. You didn't ask me." Sima Yue chuckled. Morong Hui was very helpless, but he also liked her like this. Having a trump card was much better than not having one. When they reached Yangcheng, Sima Yue did not enter. Instead, she stopped outside the city. Morong Hui and the people of vast region were left behind by her. When the people of Yangcheng received the news that Sima Yue had taken the initiative to come to Yangcheng, and even camped outside the city, everyone was surprised. After the surprise, they were angry. This was a provocation, a naked provocation. Did she really think that she was invincible and could deal with tens of thousands of people? Patriarch Peng, you are one of the people who called for this. What do you think we should do about this matter? There are still 2 days before our agreed time. And she actually came to our door and brazenly slapped our faces. If we just let it go like this, how can we establish ourselves in the ghost realm in the future? If she dares to come, we'll make sure she doesn't return. Yes. Although there are still 2 days before the agreed time, I see that a lot of people have already arrived. Should we wait for 2 days or go out now? Should they kill Sima Yue? The answer was yes. But when should they kill her? This had not been decided yet. Go now? Or wait until 2 days later? Before they could think, Sima Yue had already made the decision for them. Patriarch, our men have been beaten back. A youth hurriedly ran in and came to the middle of the discussion hall. He panted as he repeated, Clan leader, the people we sent to monitor Sima Yue have been beaten back. Beaten back? They were discovered? Patriarch Ping asked. Yes, other than Xiangzi, no one else has returned, said the youth. He's not the strongest, why is he back? I think Sima Yue asked him to come back and report. Then hurry and bring him here. Yes. Soon, the man called Xiangzi was brought up. However, he did not walk up on his own, but was carried up by others. How did you get so badly injured? Clan leader, Sima Yue spared my life. She told me to come back and tell you that if you want to find her, go to Black Su Mountain outside the city. Xiangzi said weakly before fainting. Patriarch Peng waved his hand, and the 2 men who carried Xiangzi up carried him down. It seems like she knows about our plan. We didn't hide it when we did it. Many factions know about it, so it's not strange that Sima Yue knows about it. That means she does know about our plan, and came to provoke us. But why did she camp outside the city instead of coming in? Of course she doesn't dare to come in. There are more than 10,000 experts here who want to kill her. She wouldn't dare to come in even if she had 100,000 guts. Did she think that she would be surrounded if she entered the city, and that she would be able to escape if she didn't enter the city? Maybe she does. Since she's already provoking us, what are we waiting for? Patriarch Peng, we already have so many people. There's no need to wait for the remaining 2 days. Let's leave the city today. Yes, let's go. This Sima Yue has killed so many of our people. We must kill her on Mount Wuxia. That's right. We've already lost more than 300 people to her. We must use her blood as a sacrifice to our people. Us too. We've already lost a few hundred people. These people were only thinking about their own people being killed. They didn't even consider that if they hadn't sent people to kill her, they wouldn't have lost so many people. Speaking of which, the 2 people by her side are really strong and strange. I wonder where they're from. It's strange indeed. When we see her, we must tell her who's behind them. Sima Yue heard this through the scarlet bees and smiled faintly. What's wrong? Wu Lingyu peeled a tangerine for her and fed it to her. Sima Yue ate the tangerine and said, I just heard a joke. Wu Lingyu guessed and chuckled. Isn't that what they're good at? They'll be here soon. We have to prepare. Chapter 1900. In 1 second she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web no pop-up window free to read. Sima Yue leaned on him and said with a smile. With you here, what else do we need to prepare? Anyway, there are only a few of us. There's nothing to prepare. There were too many people, and they were all experts. The formation could not deal with all of them, so they were too lazy to do it. Wu Lingyu liked the feeling of her relying on him wholeheartedly. Thinking of her in the past, it was really not easy for her to reach this point. Those people did not make Yue wait for long. In half a day, tens of thousands of people surrounded the entire Mount Usu. Seeing the densely packed people, the 4 people trapped in the middle were not worried. You really think highly of me? Sima Yue chuckled. No, I'm just too afraid of you too. Huan and Black Shadow did not speak. These people from the ghost realm were too timid. They actually gathered so many people to deal with them. However, today's main battlefield is not us. Huan stood beside Sima Yue and did not show any expression to those people. Surrounded by these people, he and Black Shadow could ensure that those people would not hurt them, but they could not guarantee that when dealing with those people, they could also take care of Sima Yue's safety. Therefore, she had to make a move today. I'm actually a peace-loving person. If I can avoid making a move, I won't do it. Sima Yue said very seriously. She looked so sincere that even she almost believed herself. I don't believe you. Black Shadow was the first to object. Why don't you believe me? I will definitely not make the first move today. But if they insist on not letting me go, then I can only choose to defend myself. Wasn't that the same? These people gathered so many people because they did not want to let her go. Since they were going to make a move, then what was the point of talking about this? When the ghosts saw the four of them talking and laughing in such a situation, they felt that they had been deeply insulted and were all furious. Kill them. The voices became louder and louder. Sima Yue stood up from her chair and said, "Call out someone who can speak." The surrounding people instantly fell silent. Master Peng stood up and looked at Sima Yue. There was no warmth in his cold eyes. Sima Yue, I think there's nothing more to say between us. First, there was the matter of Fair Eastern City. You killed so many of my ghost clansmen. After that, you went on a killing spree in the ghost realm. No matter what, we can't spare you. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him and said, I think you must have some status and power since you were chosen to speak among so many people. But how can a person like you be so brainless? Could it be that all of them were flooded? You're still a pile of tofu dregs. Sima Yue, you're not allowed to insult family head Peng. Someone scolded. Am I wrong? Sima Yue snorted coldly. The situation in Fair Eastern City was different then. If it wasn't for the fact that you wanted to go to the human world, would you have been killed? Besides, I didn't take the initiative to provoke anyone after I came to the ghost realm. You wanted to kill me. Why would I stand there and wait for you to kill me? If you wanted to, would so many people have died? Now you're blaming me for killing so many of your people. Aren't you brainless people saying this? Oh, you're so angry because you think so too. So you're a bunch of brainless people. Sima Yue, you're going to die today. How dare you boast so shamelessly? Someone scolded. I want to talk to you nicely. I was very sincere before, but you don't seem to want to. How can I accept this kind of accusation? Sima Yue sighed. Anyway, you all think so. No matter what I say, you won't change your mind. Then let's move on to the next step. What next step? The problem has been formed. Now let's talk about how to solve it. Sima Yue said. I'm also annoyed by the fact that you guys are going to assassinate me. So let's solve this problem. Are you planning to commit seppuku? Someone asked. Of course not. Sima Yue glanced at the person who spoke. Her expression was clearly asking if he was stupid. If I asked you to commit seppuku, would you do it? How is that possible? That's right. How is that possible? Sima Yue sneered. That's why I said you people are too naive and too self-righteous. Then you're choosing to let us do it. Family head Peng was not angered by her mockery. Instead, he looked at her calmly. If you want to do it, then do it. Sima Yue shrugged. You force me to do this. Sima Yue, do you think you can escape from our encirclement by relying on these two men? Don't let your imagination run wild. Even the space here has been sealed by us. You're already a turtle in a jar. You should surrender now. We'll give you a decent death. After all, you're the daughter of Dark Princess Yukuluo. Hearing them mention Yukuluo, Sima Yue was unhappy for a moment. However, they did not say anything bad, so she did not pursue the matter. Sealed the space. Seems like they've already prepared it for you. Wu Lingyu stood up and stood beside her. He held her shoulders. The black figure glared at him. From the start, the two of them had been sitting. They were standing as if they were his guards. This fellow only knew how to take advantage of them. Sima Yue smiled at him, then said to the people above, Actually, I want to have a good talk with you guys with a friendly attitude. You guys go back and live your lives well. Don't waste your time and life here with me. Humph, you're saying this now. Are you trying to beg for mercy? Ha ha ha. Unfortunately, it's useless. Wrong. I just feel that even if all of you are going to die here, I should tell you my original intention. I want you to understand that your arrogance and aggressiveness caused you to lose your chance to live. I also want the people outside to understand that I'm actually a reasonable person. Sima Yue smiled. What arrogance? Family head Peng waved his hand and some people attacked them. The black figure and Huan who were standing on Sima Yue's body flashed. They turned into black smoke and flew one round in the air. Those people who went down to kill them died instantly. Not even their bones were left behind. Indeed, those two people are too strange. They saw more than 10 people die in an instant. They did not even see how they did it. Are they from the Soul Society? To be able to turn his body into a wisp of black smoke. This was not something that the people of the Ghost Clan could do. Soul Society? She actually dares to collude with the Soul Society. The Ghost Clan and the Soul Society were like fire and water. She actually colluded with the Soul Society? It seemed that they had found another reason to kill her. Chapter 1901. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read Book Web Quick Update. No pop-up window, free to read. After Huan and Black Shadow finished off the people, they appeared in the air. Both of them crossed their arms in front of their chests and looked at them leisurely. Those who dare to step into this place will die. Black Shadow was still very imposing when facing others. He was very different from his usual silly self. You're from the Soul Society. Master Peng looked at Huan and Black Shadow. There was a hint of excitement in his voice. Soul Society? That kind of small place is worthy of our birth? Black Shadow sneered. He also made it clear that he was not from the Soul Society. The people from the Soul Society were good at controlling souls. That was why many people would come to the Ghost Society to look for people from the Ghost Society. The people from the Ghost Society also liked to eat the souls from the Soul Society to replenish their energy, just like how you do wanted to eat Yu's soul. That was why the Soul Society and the Ghost Society were like fire and water. They originally thought that Sima Yue was in cahoots with the Soul Society. That way they could pin a crime on her. But they didn't expect that these people were not from the Soul Society. And from their tone, it seemed that they had a strong background. Indeed, they had a strong background. Otherwise, why would they have such a strange movement technique? It seems that you really want to link me to the Soul Society. Sima Yue sighed. But what should I do? I haven't been there since I came to the Ghost Society. No matter what, you won't be able to escape today. No matter how strong the two of you are, they are only two people. We have enough people to hold them back. The moment Master Peng finished speaking, hundreds of people attacked again. But the result was the same. They couldn't even get past Black Shadow, let alone touch Sima Yue's clothes. Sima Yue admired these people. In order to kill her, they didn't even care about their own lives. Before the first batch of people died, another batch of people attacked again. Although they didn't cause any damage to Black Shadow and Huan, they did hold them back temporarily. The people at the back saw this as a good opportunity. Dozens of people attacked Sima Yue. Wu Lingyu smirked. He let go of Sima Yue and went behind her. Like Black Shadow and the rest, he turned into a black rock and flew towards those people. However, unlike Black Shadow and the others, he did not corrode the corpses of those people. Therefore, after he flew past, he left behind a ground full of corpses. She actually had such a powerful person? Moreover, judging from their previous actions, they seemed to be very close. However, those people didn't have much time to digest the news. After seeing Wu Lingyu make a move, more people went up. Their idea was very simple. As long as they delayed Wu Lingyu, someone would be able to kill her. Sima Yu looked at those who were dashing forward without a care for their own safety, then looked at those who were faintly timid behind them, and suddenly understood something. It seemed that there were some among these 10,000 people who wanted to fight to the death with him. She wondered if Anaheim would be heartbroken after losing so many people. More and more people attacked from behind. Perhaps they thought that it would be easier to defeat Wu Lingyu since he was alone. Wu Lingyu appeared in the air for less than a second before he disappeared again. However, this time he did not turn into a black fog. Instead, he turned into a river. Damn, it's actually a river. Are we hallucinating? The people at the top of the mountain started to shout. Those people can't float in the river. This is the water of the river of forgetfulness. Some of these people had good eyesight and recognized the river water. The river of forgetfulness. Why would the water of the river of forgetfulness come here? This person is from the Soul Clan. Only the Soul Clan could survive in the river of forgetfulness. No matter how he controlled the water of the river of forgetfulness, he was definitely from the Soul Clan. These three people, their combat power is simply heaven-defying. Seeing the three people surrounding Sima Yue in the middle, everyone was dumbfounded. Sima Yue saw more and more people coming down. She then looked at the three people who were protecting her in the middle. She started to circulate the spiritual energy in her body. Suddenly the wind and clouds changed. The originally clear sky was suddenly filled with dark clouds. This is the tribulation cloud. It was unknown who roared, but everyone present panicked. No one dashed down again. Instead, they focused their attention on the tribulation clouds above their heads. Tribulation cloud. Why would it come at this time? No one was going through tribulation here. No underworld beasts were transforming. Why would the tribulation cloud be here? After Wu Lingyu and the rest settled the people on the battlefield, they returned to her side. I said before, I actually don't want your lives. Sima Yue raised her head to look at the tribulation cloud. She muttered, "There's no right or wrong in Fair Eastern City. There's only different standpoints. Now that you've been instigated to kill me, whether it's for revenge or for the benefits given to you by the person behind you, you should know very well." Initially, she really thought that those people were finding trouble with her because of Fair Eastern City. But later on, she slowly understood. How could there be so many people who were willing to sacrifice hundreds or even thousands of people just for a few people's deaths? Today, when she saw those people who rushed to the front to kill her, she finally understood that everything was just a game of coercion. No matter if they were subdued by coercion or lost in the temptation, this was their choice. Since you've made your choice, then you should understand that there's a risk in making a choice. You have to pay the price. She looked at those people coldly. I think you don't know me that well, but the person behind you definitely knows me like the back of her hand. Then she should tell you that my advancement is a little strange. Every time I advance, there will be a lightning tribulation. I'm very happy that this time there are so many people accompanying me. What? You can actually trigger a lightning tribulation. Why didn't they tell us? If only they knew about this. If they knew, why would they look for her like this? They might not even find trouble with her. When I was in Fair Eastern City, I used this method. If you had gone to understand more, you should have known. Sima Yue snorted coldly. Those people were regretting it now. If they weren't blinded by the benefits behind them, if they didn't underestimate her, how would they end up in this state? Actually, if they weren't so eager for quick success, they would have thought that she was not weak to be able to kill so many ghost clansmen in Fair Eastern City. It was just that they took it for granted and thought that she could only do it in the human realm. After reaching the ghost realm, it would be their place. Even if she was powerful before, she wouldn't be able to make any waves here. Sima Yue looked at the tribulation cloud in the sky that was getting bigger and bigger. She nodded at Wu Lingyu. Wu Lingyu opened his little realm and brought Black Shadow and Huan in. Chapter 1902. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web no pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue's little realm had not been opened since she came to the ghost realm. It was not that she did not want to, but no matter how hard she tried, she could not open it. Thinking that there were still so many people living in it, she was a little anxious. Wu Lingyu said that it might be because this token could only be opened by the power of the human race, so she probably could not open the little realm when she was in the ghost realm. The surrounding people didn't think that Wu Lingyu and the others would leave just like that. When they saw that Sima Yuyu was alone, they didn't know who shouted, "Kill her." This lightning tribulation was caused by her. As long as we kill her, nothing will happen. Hearing this shout, everyone came to their senses. That's right, as long as we kill her, everything will be fine, right? Looking up at the sky that was getting darker and darker, they could already feel the thunder elements floating in the air. Every one of them had goosebumps, as if they could feel the threat of death. The closer they were to death, the more they wanted to live, and the way they looked at Sima Yue had changed. At this time, someone could not wait to attack her. A thunder and lightning struck the person, and he fell from the sky directly. At the same time, the people who wanted to come up behind him stopped halfway. Thunder, thunder and lightning? They looked up at the thunder clouds. Indeed, it had not finished condensing. How could it fall in advance? They still hadn't figured it out when a few more bolts of lightning came down, striking down the people surrounding Sima Yuyu. At this time, everyone saw that there was a purple kitten in Sima Yuyu's arms. One by one, "You can't wait to come over. How can I not fulfill your wishes?" Little Purple waved his claws, and a few more thunder and lightning flew out from his claws, landing on the people around him. If they were only suspicious at the beginning, now that they saw with their own eyes that the thunder and lightning was released by Little Purple, the way they looked at Little Purple changed. There was a spiritual beast that could release thunder and lightning. Sima Yue was not human. Sima Yue looked at the tribulation clouds. There was still some time before the lightning tribulation. She called out all her beasts. Mi Air, Little Seven, Huahua, Little Dream, Little Rock, Yaguang, Little Roar, Little Gold, Chongming, Heiyan, Little Black. Even the sleeping thousand resonants had woken up, including Little Purple. 13 beasts lined up beside her. That formation made everyone's heart tremble. The beasts knew that this was not the time to joke around. None of them said a word as they attacked the people surrounding Sima Yue, preventing them from getting close to Sima Yue. The beast's strength was nothing in front of these masters, but they were able to prevent them from getting close to Sima Yue. Sima Yue has so many contracted beasts. Not only were there many of them, but they were also powerful. They were the masters of the spirit world, but they were unable to get close to her beasts. Just as they were wondering if they should send more people down, a flame flew out from her body. After circling her twice, it turned into a firebird and flew around the battlefield. Wherever the firebird passed, there were no corpses left. What kind of firebird is that? Someone exclaimed. That's not a bird, it's fire. Patriarch Peng looked at little birdie in shock. That's... Patriarch, what kind of fire is that? How can it be so powerful? If I'm not wrong, that should be the legendary Nirvana flame. Patriarch Peng felt that it was unbelievable. Nirvana flame is the flame of the legendary vermilion bird. Why would it appear here? Vermilion bird. How could this be? How could this be? How could it not be? Since it existed in the legends, how could it not appear again? But why would it appear here with Sima Yue? Why would it appear here with Sima Yue? They even felt a little hopeless. She had 2 bodyguards with unknown backgrounds and a lover who could use the water of the river of forgetfulness. She herself had so many contracted beasts and could even summon lightning. Why would they go against such a person? What were they thinking at that time? They couldn't kill her here, but the thunder punishment was ready. Sima Yue saw that it was almost time, so she called back all her beasts, leaving only Little Purple to resist the thunder punishment for her. At this time, the thunder punishment had locked onto everyone present. Even if they killed her, the thunder punishment wouldn't stop. So they didn't have the mind to deal with her. They only thought about how to resist the thunder punishment. On the contrary, she was relaxed at this time. She held Little Purple in the center, and had nothing to do. After thinking for a while, she held Little Purple and flew to the thunder punishment cloud to chat with the cloud spirit. She went to the thunder punishment cloud. She doesn't want to live anymore. Someone noticed that she was missing. He looked up and found that she was actually on the thunder punishment cloud. She was even talking and laughing. It seemed that she was chatting with the thunder punishment cloud. Did she have feelings for the thunder punishment cloud? Who on earth was she? What they didn't know was that she did have feelings for the thunder punishment cloud. But it wasn't because of the thunder punishment, but because of the drinking. You made such a big noise again. The cloud spirit sat on the cloud, holding a jar of wine and almost fell into it. It's not what I want. You see, so many people want to kill me. I have no choice but to borrow your power. Sima Yue looked at it with a smile. You have consumed my power. You have to make up for it. The cloud spirit hummed. Why are there so many people who want to kill you wherever you go? You have such a bad character. Sima Yue waved her hand, and a pile of fruit wine and anti-drunkenness elixirs piled on the cloud. Looking at the cloud spirit's shining eyes, she felt a lot better. She reached out and poked its head, asking, "Is this enough?" "Just barely." The cloud spirit waved its little tail and replied proudly. Greedy. Sima Yue liked the time when she was with the cloud spirit. Although she was often struck by the cloud spirit, she felt very relaxed when they were together. She didn't need to think about anything else. Okay, I'm going to start the thunder punishment. Get off now. It hurts just thinking about it. You have to strike me less later. Do you understand? In your dreams. You are the one who is going through the thunder punishment. Go, 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 go. The cloud spirit urged. Sima Yue carried little Z down. As soon as they landed, the first thunder punishment struck. As the one who was going through the thunder punishment, the first thunder naturally struck her. Little Z absorbed most of the power for her. She only used a small part of it to refine her body. As a soul, she was the first one who could use thunder to refine her body. Seeing this, those who were forced to go through the thunder punishment with her almost dropped their jaws. No wonder she dared to attract the thunder so casually. It turned out that she was not afraid of being struck. Bang! Bang! The thunder punishment struck one after another. But this time, the target was not her. Along with the thunder punishment, there was a deafening scream. Chapter 1903. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web, no pop-up windows, free to read. The commotion here had already attracted the attention of various parties. The news of over 10,000 experts wanting to kill Sima Yue had already spread in Yangcheng. Everyone in the city was waiting for those people to return after killing Sima Yue. In fact, some people felt that joining forces with tens of thousands of people to kill a woman was an inconceivable thing in itself. What made them even more surprised was that so many people had yet to return after such a long time. Could it be that Sima Yue's ability was actually able to defeat over 10,000 experts? Previously, they felt that this was too much of a fuss. Now it seemed like she was a demon. When the tribulation clouds started to gather outside the city, the previous shock turned into fear. In the ghost realm, no matter who it was, no matter how strong they were, they would be afraid of this thing. Fortunately, the tribulation clouds only gathered at Mount Usu Air, and did not seem to be heading towards the city. Everyone then heaved a sigh of relief. Mount Usu Air, isn't that where they went? Let's go and see what happened. Countless people flew towards that direction. The onlookers stopped outside the area of the lightning tribulation, and gasped when they saw the charred corpses. After the cloud spirit finished striking those people, it patted its butt and left. The entire valley had already been struck into a mess. The corpses were telling of the tragedy of the lightning tribulation, but the most frightening thing was that in the middle of the pile of corpses, there was a peerless beauty holding a purple cat, leisurely stroking its fur. Although she had also been struck, she didn't seem to be in a sorry state at all. Dark Knight. Princess. Someone muttered a name that no one had mentioned for a long time. It really seemed like even those who had rushed over were stunned. This is Miss Yue? If I didn't know her identity, even I would have thought that she was the Dark Knight Princess. Beside Dilu, Diwu's eyes were still filled with shock. Miss has always been like this. She always shocks people. Dilu looked at Sima Yue excitedly. Seeing that the tribulation clouds had left, he ran over and shouted, Miss! Miss! We're late. Dilu? Sima Yue saw Dilu and a trace of a smile appeared on her cold face. What are you doing here? Master knows that you've been hunted down and sent us to protect you. This is Di Wu, and the guys behind him are the Di family army. Di Lu introduced. Di Wu greets young Mississippi. Di Jejun greets Miss. The soldiers of the Di family knelt down in front of Sima Yue. In fact, they had arrived a long time ago, but because the space was sealed, they did not go over when they saw that Sima Yue was able to handle it. Instead, they chose to watch from the side. Di Lu was originally very anxious, but Di Wu's words stopped him in his tracks. Di Wu said, "If young mistress uses her own strength to get rid of these people, then no one in the entire ghost realm will dare to find trouble with her." Di Wu was right. They could get rid of these people this time, but they would not be afraid of Sima Yue. As long as they were not around, she would be attacked from all sides. She would only be at peace if she solved the problem herself. They originally planned to help if they could not handle it, but they did not expect Sima Yue to solve the problem in such a flashy way. When the tribulation cloud struck, their hearts were trembling. They were really convinced by her. Not only them, but the people of vast region were also like that. They did not react until the tribulation clouds left. No wonder she did not allow them to follow her. If they followed her, the tribulation clouds would have struck them to death. "Young mistress, Master asked us to protect you to the capital," Di Lu said. "As for these people, I think no one will dare to find trouble with you in the future." There was a movement in the space. Wu Lingyu opened her little realm and brought Black Shadow and Huan out. When Black Shadow and Huan saw Sima Yue, they were still in a state of shock. Because Wu Lingyu was worried about Sima Yue, they were able to see the situation outside even from inside. The lightning that covered the sky and covered the earth made their hearts ache. If it hit them, it would be so painful. Especially Black Shadow. This was the first time he saw Sima Yue going through the tribulation. Throughout the entire process, his mouth did not close. He always thought that Sima Yue was very weak. Their responsibility was to protect her safety. But after this incident, he no longer thought that Sima Yue was a weakling. Sima Yue introduced them to Di Lu and Di Wu. "Let's leave this place first. We can't recognize these corpses anymore. But I think their clansmen should be able to recognize us," Wu Lingyu said. Sima Yue did not reply to him. Instead, she looked towards the sky. Following a sigh, a figure gradually appeared in the sky. When Sima Yue saw the person, her pupils constricted. She pursed her lips and did not say a word. Her senses just now were accurate. When the first bolt of lightning struck her body, she felt something in the air for a moment. Mixed in with that kind of environment, it was not easy to notice. But she still managed to catch it. Di Wu, Di Lu looked at the person and knelt down. They said in unison, "Greetings to Ghost King." That person was actually Ghost King? The others who were watching the show all knelt down. At that moment, other than Ghost King, Yue and the other three were the only ones who were still standing. Ghost King did not mind their rudeness. He looked at Sima Yue and asked, "When did you notice me?" "When the lightning tribulation started." Sima Yue replied, "Your senses are very sharp." Ghost King looked at her approvingly. After he came here, he only felt a slight fluctuation when he saw the lightning strike her body. Moreover, the fluctuation was not big. He did not expect her to be able to catch it. Sima Yue turned her face to the side. "What are you doing here?" "Deja told me that you came to Ghost Realm." Ghost King understood her emotions and gave her an explanation that was not really an explanation. He knew that she blamed him. She thought that he did not interfere in the past, which caused her to be in such a situation. He also told her that he did not know about it in the past. Sima Yue pursed her lips and did not say a word. When Ghost King saw her like this, he recalled the time when his precious youngest daughter threw a tantrum at him. His eyes were filled with sadness. "Follow me." He looked at Wu Lingyu and the rest. He did not stop them from following him. He walked out of the battlefield and stepped over the charred corpses. He walked past the people who were kneeling on the ground and watched the show. He said faintly, "Kill all the clans who participated in this." "Yes, King." A reply came from the sky. Then it became quiet again. His words represented his attitude. and also meant that those families who participated in this matter would soon disappear from the world of spirits and souls. Recommended friend Lu Xingyin's new book, Trash Pill God, Black Belly Ghost King Nitian Concubine. It's a very good Xuanhua novel. You can't miss it. Love you all. Chapter 1904. In 1 second she remembered. Love divided by you? Read book web quick update. No pop-up window, free to read. At this moment, those who were watching the show felt a lingering fear. Ghost King actually killed all the powerhouses who were involved in today's matter for Sima Yue. Although there were only 10,000 people now, there were still hundreds and thousands of powerhouses. To remove all these powerhouses from the ghost realm was not a small matter. But to the ruler of the ghost realm, this was not a big deal. Luckily they did not get involved, if not they would be finished. Many people's backs were drenched in sweat when they thought of this. They did not expect that Ghost King would make such a big fuss over his granddaughter, whom they thought he did not care about at all, to vent her anger. Until Ghost King and Sima Yue left, those people stood up from the ground. Some of them were so frightened that their legs turned to jelly and directly sat on the ground. They turned back to look at the corpses in the valley. These people were still complacent before, but not only did they lose their lives in the hands of Sima Yue, even their families were dragged down. If they were still alive, who knew what they would think? Di Wu and Di Lu were overjoyed when they heard this. Most of the powerhouses who were involved in today's matter were under the Anaheim. Now that Ghost King had removed them, wouldn't the Anaheim's power be weakened? This was really good news, haha. They wanted to spread the news of today's matter back. Sima Yue followed Ghost King for a long time. Neither of them spoke until they reached the highest peak of Mount Yuzhuor. The wind at the peak of the mountain caused their clothes and hair to flutter. Ghost King looked at Sima Yue and said, "You really look like your mother." Sima Yue raised her head and looked at Ghost King. He looked very young, but his eyes contained the vicissitudes of life, as though he was helpless and heartbroken. "Since you mention my mother, I shall not beat around the bush." She pursed her lips and asked the question that had been accumulating in her heart. "Where is my mother?" The Ghost King stared at her, and his eyes became sharp. Seeing that she had no intention of backing down, he threw his hands behind his back and looked into the distance. He said, "Your mother made a mistake and is receiving punishment. Since you have come to the ghost world, live a good life here. Don't think about those useless things." "Nothing?" Sima Yue laughed angrily. "Is my mother nothing in your eyes? You don't know anything, so don't care about anything." Ghost King suppressed his temper, trying not to scare her. "Don't care if you don't know? That's my mother." Sima Yue's voice became shrill. "She's my mother, so it's impossible for me to remain indifferent when I know she's suffering. It's impossible for me to do nothing. From the moment I knew that she was suffering, my goal was to save her. If you tell me, I'll save myself some trouble. If you don't tell me, I won't stop. I'll find my mother and save her. How dare you? Why wouldn't I dare?" Sima Yue looked at him mockingly. "Do you think I'm like you? Cousin said that you have your own difficulties, but in my opinion, no matter what difficulties you have, it's just an excuse to use your daughter's sacrifice in exchange for peace. I'm different from you. I won't think so much. I won't think about whether it will cause chaos or not. I only want my mother to be well." No matter what happened in the past, in her eyes, the Ghost King was a coward who compromised with others. He used his own daughter in exchange for others to back down. The Ghost King closed his eyes and suppressed his anger. When he opened his eyes again, he was cold and indifferent like before. He and Sima Yue stared at each other, neither of them willing to back down. In the end he compromised and opened his mouth first. "I said I won't allow it." "I also said, it's your business to say it or not. It's my business to do it or not." Sima Yue did not back down. The Ghost King looked at the similar eyes. For a moment, he was in a trance, thinking that he was looking at another pair of eyes. He knew this gaze and understood the determination behind it. However, it was this similar gaze that made him not dare to look at it directly. He turned his gaze to the distance, his aura suddenly weakened, and said, "You and your mother are too similar." Sima Yue did not speak. It's this again. It's useless to say it. Actually, all of this was your mother's request. The Ghost King said, leaving you and your father is one, choosing to be suppressed is also one. What? Impossible. Sima Yue did not believe it. When you brought people to bring my mother back, she also resisted. How could she want to leave me and my father? It's even more impossible for her to ask to be suppressed and lose her freedom forever. You don't believe it, but this is the truth. The Ghost King said. Impossible. She likes my father so much, how could she ask to leave? She won't abandon me and my father. Sima Yue shook her head. She did not believe it. Don't think that by saying this, I will give up and go find my mother. I won't fall for your trick. At that time, your father and mother were not only opposed by the people from the human realm, they were also in danger from the ghost realm. Someone from the ghost realm knew that she went to the human realm and was weak, so they sent people to assassinate them. She had been hiding this from your father. The Ghost King said. On one side was the pursuit from the human realm. On the other side was the assassination from the ghost realm. There were a few times when they almost couldn't hold on. If it was only the humans' opposition, she might have persevered. However, there was also the crisis from the ghost realm. Especially with you. She couldn't let you live in danger all day. So she asked for help from me. Sima Yue looked at the Ghost King in shock. That time when he brought people over, it was not because she was with her father. The Ghost King brought people to capture her, but because she asked for help? How was this possible? Sima Lu Yun and the rest said that her father almost lost his life, and it was the Ghost King who personally took action. When her mother left, she was so sad and unwilling. The Ghost King understood her thoughts and continued, I am the king of the ghost realm. If I want to kill a small human, would he have a chance to live? Sima Yue's heart trembled. He was right. If he was really angry about her father and mother's union, why would he let her father live? Although it looked like he was seriously injured, he could live if he didn't die. Could it be that her mother really asked to leave? Because she was afraid of bringing danger to her and her father, so that she could live a good life while she was still in swaddling clothes? Two people with a baby, how were they going to face the endless pursuit from both the human and ghost realm? For her own safety, she was willing to bear the pain and leave. After leaving, how was she going to bear the pain of missing her daughter? Thinking of this, her eyes were dry and painful. What happened after that? Since she asked to come back, why was she suppressed? Chapter 1905. In 1 second she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web no pop-up window, free to read. If Yu Kuluo left on her own accord, why would she be suppressed in a place like the Avicii Hell when she returned? Ghost King sighed. Speaking of which, it was the Soul Society's doing. The ruler of the Soul Society, Qing Hun, somehow knew that your mother was in the human realm, and came to ask for your mother's hand in marriage. He said that he was in love with your mother, and wanted to mend the relationship between the Soul Society and the Ghost Society. If your mother was not married to him, he would bring people to attack the Ghost Society. I think that his love for my mother was fake. He was using her as an excuse to attack. Sima Yue clenched her fists, feeling heartache for Yu Kuluo's situation. The Soul Society and the Ghost Society have always been at odds with each other. There were constant battles between them, but they were all small skirmishes. If they really fought, the ones who would be affected would be the innocent citizens. So you gave in. Is your grandfather someone who gives in so easily? Ghost King glanced at her. At that time I wanted to send Qing Hun back, but many people objected. Although I didn't want to bother, I was already counting the troops to prepare for battle. However, your mother came to find me, saying that instead of causing chaos in the Ghost Society, it was better for her to be suppressed in the Avicii Hell. Mother, she was thinking for me. Ghost King sighed. When one is at a high position, there are some things that one must consider. I couldn't bear for her to marry Qing Hun, and she didn't want me to do something that would disregard the common people. Moreover, those people objected to the battle, and wanted your mother to marry over. Even after that incident, they would still have ideas about your mother. So you agreed. Your mother said that she would rather be suppressed forever with the memories of your father and her longing for all of you than to have an affair with someone else. And she didn't want me to be in a difficult position. She even said that I would suppress her when everyone was pressuring me. Since she was so insistent, I followed her wishes and told everyone that she was with the human race and had to be punished, so I suppressed her in the Avicii hell. So, to outsiders, Kahlua was suppressed because of what happened in the human realm. Qing Hun couldn't say anything about this and returned to the Soul Society. Soul Society Qing Hun. This was the first time Sima Yue wanted to take someone's life so badly. However, even if what you said is true, I will still go and rescue my mother. I'm not stopping you because I'm afraid you'll bring me trouble, but you can't go now. The Ghost King said. Why? Because I can't get close to that place. Back then, when I suppressed your mother in the Avicii hell, I made a contract with that side. I can no longer approach that place. The Ghost King said. If you can't go, why can't I go too? Sima Yue was unhappy. Do you know how dangerous that place is? I won't let you go. The Ghost King was angered by her and directly expressed his attitude. You are you and I am me. You can't go, but you can't stop me from going. Sima Yue was determined. I'm not completely unprepared. Are you talking about these two people from the underworld? Ghost King looked at Black Shadow and Huan, who were not far away. Sima Yue was shocked. You know? Others can't tell where they came from, but how can I not know? The Ghost King retracted his gaze. Don't think that it'll be fine just because they're here. The people from the underworld can't make a move in the ghost world. Now that they're acting like this, they've already broken the contract. Hades said that the underworld can't cause trouble in the ghost world, but if it's for self-defense, it's fine. Otherwise, why didn't Sky Law find trouble with Black Shadow and Huan? Sima Yue said. However, I don't intend to rely on them to save my mother. With your current strength, I believe that I can do it, Sima Yue said. Lin said that only I can save my mother. If I don't do it because it's dangerous, who else can save my mother? So no matter what you say, you can't stop me. Lin, huh? The Ghost King narrowed his eyes and thought of the man he saw before. On the way back to the ghost world, the man with a head full of silver hair stood in front of him and said with a smile, that child, when you meet her again one day, don't reject her request. She'll be your hope. At that time, he felt that it was strange. Now that he thought about it, was he referring to now? Even if that's the case, you can't go now. The Ghost King said, your strength is only at the Underworld Emperor. If you want to save your mother, other than finding those few things, you have to break through the Underworld Paragon level. Those few things? What's that? The Four Corners Divine Seal. The Four Corners Divine Seal? Sima Yue frowned. She knew that it wasn't something ordinary. The Four Corners Divine Seal is made up of 4 divine seals that look the same, but the bottom is carved with north, south, east, and west. Each divine seal contains a different power. If the 4 divine seals are gathered together, they'll be able to destroy the world. The Ghost King explained to her. Why do we need the Four Corners Divine Seal to save my mother? Do you want to borrow the power of the Four Corners Divine Seal to destroy the seal? The seal that I used at the beginning wasn't very hard to destroy. However, the Soul Society sent someone to tamper with it and changed it to an ancient seal. And that seal can only be broken with the Four Corners Divine Seal. Then where's the Four Corners Divine Seal? Before you break through the Underworld Paragon level, I won't tell you the whereabouts of the Four Corners Divine Seal. The Ghost King was very firm on this point. If you want to save your mother as soon as possible, then work hard on your cultivation and break through as soon as possible. Sima Yue glared at him. However, this time he was completely unmoved. This was his bottom line. Even if he agreed to let her save Kahlua, he wouldn't let her take the risk. Wu Lingyu, Black Shadow, and Huan stood a little further away and saw her talking to the Ghost King. They didn't know what she said, but they could see that she was angry, sad, and helpless. After a while, she walked back and looked at the 3 of them. I want to go to the imperial capital with him. You've decided? Yes. Then let's go. We were prepared to go to the imperial capital anyway. Although they thought that she would directly ask for the location and then go save Yukuluo, since she made such a decision, they would naturally support her. He said that before I break through the underworld paragon level, he won't tell me the whereabouts of the Four Corners divine seal, and where my mother is sealed. Sima Yue said as she looked at him angrily. Since there's a condition, it means that it's for your own good. Wu Lingyu said. Sima Yue sighed and said, I know. It's just that knowing the truth makes me feel a little sad. I don't know if my father can take it if he knows. Chapter 1906. 1 second to remember. Love divided by you. Read book web no pop-up window free to read. Sima Yue did not tell Sima Lu Xian about Yukuluo's departure. He now knew that this was of no use to him. It only made him sad and blamed himself. She followed the Ghost King to the imperial capital. With him, she did not need to use the teleportation array, nor did she need to open a space tunnel. She was happy and relaxed. Before leaving, she and Mu Yukuluo exchanged a message. A-class equals __CF email ref equals /CDNCGI/L/ email protection. Fortunately, they met in the imperial capital. After what happened that day, even if they knew that she was Morongxi, no one would dare to make a move on vast region. When they came out of the space tunnel, they were already in the imperial capital palace. The majestic palace stood at a high place. Standing outside the palace, one could see the layout of the imperial capital, but because it was too wide, one could not see the end of it. King. The guards outside knelt down. This is Princess Yue. The Ghost King said to these people. It was also announcing her identity and status to the entire ghost realm. Those guards did not hesitate and immediately kowtowed to Sima Yue and shouted respectfully, Princess Yue. Let's go, I'll bring you to your youthful palace. The Ghost King turned and left. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu also followed. After they left, the guards on the ground stood up and looked at each other. Their eyes were filled with surprise. Princess Yue, is she the Sima Yue who has been the talk of the town recently? It should be, she really looks like the Dark Princess. The king actually arranged for her to stay in the youthful palace. That palace has been empty for a long time. It seems that she is really liked by the king. She stayed in the youthful palace the moment she arrived. Isn't that so? I heard that she has many stories along the way. It seems that the imperial palace is going to be lively. Isn't that so? Many of those princesses and princes are not on good terms with the Dark Princess. Now that she is here, we have a good show to watch. You dare to watch the princes and princesses fight? Are you tired of living? Stop grumbling and do your duty properly. Whoever dares to say such things to me again, I'll kill you. Yes, Captain. Sima Yue followed the Ghost King into the palace, and after several turns, they arrived at a spacious palace. This is the youthful palace. Your mother used to live here. The Ghost King said. Sima Yue looked at the 3 words, Fanghua Pavilion, and her heart was filled with emotions. Was this the place where mother had lived? She wondered if there were any traces left behind by her. After such a long time, she was finally in touch with her mother's life. At this moment, more than a dozen maidservants and guards filed out of the palace gate and knelt down in unison. Greetings, Your Majesty, Your Highness. From today onwards, Yue will be staying here. You have to serve her well. This servant obeys. This servant obeys. These are the people who used to serve your mother. They should serve you well. The Ghost King said. Sima Yue was astonished. Yukuluo had been suppressed for more than 100 years, but the people who used to serve her were still around. Let's go. I'll bring you in to take a look. The moment the Ghost King finished speaking, he saw a guard behind him. Although the guard did not say anything, the Ghost King still stopped walking and said to Sima Yue, I have something to do, I'll come back to see you. Sima Yue nodded and watched the Ghost King leave. She said to the maidservants and guards kneeling on the ground, You can get up. Thank you, Your Highness. Sima Yue entered the palace and found that the decorations were very unique. It was different from the other palaces. This palace is different from the others, she praised. Replying, Your Highness, these were all arranged by the Dark Princess, my mother. Yes. The Dark Princess and the Dark Princess were the last princesses to stay here. No one else stayed here after them. The king ordered us to maintain this place. The maidservant who was walking in front said, In the future, you can call my mother Princess. You can call me Little Princess. Sima Yue said. Yes, Little Princess. The maidservants happily agreed. In their hearts, Yukuluo had always been their princess, so they could not change their way of speaking. Sima Yue did this because she respected their feelings for Yukuluo. Moreover, she was indeed the youngest princess in this generation. Although some of the children of the royal family were younger than her, they did not receive the title of princess. Princess, there are 4 halls in the youthful palace. You will stay in the main hall, the youthful palace. The 3 guests will stay in the side halls according to the king's orders. A maidservant said. What is your name? Sima Yue asked. This servant is Shiyu. I was one of the princess's maidservants in the past, Shiyu said. Now this servant is in charge of everything in the youthful palace. Since it was you in the past, then you will have to take care of it in the future. Sima Yue smiled at her. Shiyu saw her smile. It was so similar to Yukuluo's. Tears welled up in her eyes. Yes, this servant will obey. You are all old people who have served my mother. In the future, Yue will need you to take care of her in the palace. Sima Yue bowed slightly to them. Along the way, she had also understood some things. Some palaces had many people, while some had few. Following a good master would naturally make one stand out. This youthful palace had been empty for more than 100 years. Those who stayed here were very loyal to Yukuluo. That was why they stayed here even though they knew that she could not come back. Little Princess is too serious. Shiyu and the maidservants quickly knelt down. Taking care of Little Princess is our duty. It is our honor to take care of Little Princess for your highness. Sima Yue went forward to help Shiyu up. The others followed suit. I won't say any more polite words. I came to the palace to cultivate well so that I can rescue my mother as soon as possible. In the future, I will need you to take care of the matters in the palace. We will serve Little Princess with all our heart. I have 2 maidservants. When the time comes, I will bring them to the palace. Shiyu, teach them well for me. Sima Yue was talking about Ting Shan and Ting Shui. Previously, the 2 of them had always said that they wanted to follow her. She was also used to them. When Morong Hui arrived at the imperial capital, she would ask them to come over. Yes, Little Princess. You can leave first. I still have something to tell them. She waved her hand, and she led everyone to leave. Miss, how long will you stay here? Black Shadow asked. It will probably be a while. Sima Yue sighed and told him about her conversation with the Ghost King. So you can't leave here before you break through to Underworld Venerable, Black Shadow said. More or less. However, what I am more concerned about now is the 4 Corners Divine Seal. Sima Yue said. I feel that this 4 Corners Divine Seal will not be so easy to find. Since there is such a thing, there must be a whereabouts. Huan said. Ghost King doesn't know? Wu Lingyu asked. He said that he has one side in his hands. He won't tell me about the other 3, saying that he is afraid that I will cause trouble. Sima Yue was a little speechless. Was she so impulsive? Chapter 1907. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web no pop-up window, free to read. So he knows where the 3-directional divine seal is. I don't know either. Sima Yue shook her head. Lingyu, get those people to check on the 4-directional divine seal. Okay. Wu Lingyu agreed without hesitation. It was rare for her to ask him to do something, so how could he refuse? Huan, Black Shadow, do you want to go back to the underworld? She was in the palace now and shouldn't be in any danger. She didn't need them to protect her all day. Why should we go back? If we follow you, what if Aniheim sends people to harm you? Black Shadow refused. They already knew that the incident in Yangcheng was caused by Aniheim. And they also knew about the grudge between her and Sima Yue. How could they be at ease with her living under Aniheim's watch? Sima Yue saw that Huan didn't have any objections, so she didn't care about them. If they were bored, they could go outside for a walk. Anyway, the people in the palace couldn't stop them. As for Wu Lingyu, she didn't need to think about it. He would definitely follow her. I'll cultivate well from now on, and try to break through to Underworld Paragon as soon as possible. Then, I'll ask grandfather to tell me where my mother is. However, dreams were plentiful, but reality was harsh. She wanted to cultivate well, but she was always interrupted. The first person to come to her was Deja, who had received the news. He ran in like a gust of wind, and when he saw Sima Yue, he said excitedly, "You're finally in the capital. I heard from Di Lu and the others that you did a good job in Yangcheng. Those people deserve to end up like that." Sima Yue saw the smile on his face and laughed. "Only you think I did a good job. Didn't you hear the nickname that the outside world gave me? Female killing god. TSK. I'm as famous as you." "Haha, that's great. I'm the killing god, and you're the female killing god." As expected of brother and sister, Deja remembered that he was stunned when he first heard this, and then he laughed. This title was not without its benefits. At the very least, no one would dare to provoke her. Yu Shiyu and the others were surprised to see Deja laughing. They were very familiar with him. In the past, when Yu Kalua was still around, he would often come over, but they had never seen him laugh so heartily. At most, it would be different from the murderous look on his face outside. It would be much gentler. However, this side was also gone after Yu Kalua was suppressed. He would occasionally come to the youthful palace, but every time he would have a cold face, causing the people in the youthful palace to be afraid. "The general is in a good mood. It's been a long time since I've seen you smile." Shiyu and Deja had a good relationship. When she saw that he was happy, she would tease him. "Shiyu, did you become bolder when you saw that Yu was here? You even dared to make fun of me." Although Deja said this, he was not angry. The general is in a good mood today. He won't punish this servant. Shiyu was not afraid of him now. "You've only stayed here for a day, and these palace maids have been led astray by you." Deja complained to Sima Yue. "Is that so? Why do I feel like you're the one indulging them?" Sima Yue said, "However, it's all thanks to them that this place can still maintain the appearance when mother was still around. Yes, those who betrayed the youthful palace are no longer here." Deja also sighed. Sima Yue understood what he meant. Shiyu had told her before that they were not the only people in the youthful palace. It was the other people who left after Yu Kalua was suppressed. However, those people did not get any benefits in the end. They were all killed by Deja. In his words, those people were ungrateful wretches who betrayed Yu Kalua in the past. There was no use in keeping them. Later on, someone went to the Ghost King's place to cause trouble. The Ghost King scolded him for causing trouble. Those palace maids and guards were transferred to other palaces. They were people from other palaces. He was slapping the faces of those concubines, princesses and princes. However, in the end he did not punish him. He only gave him a beating and punished him to go into seclusion to reflect on his mistakes. To him, this was no different from scratching an itch. In the past, there were still some people who would come to the youthful palace to cause trouble. They could not win against Yu Kalua. After she left, they would cause trouble at her place. It was not a bad idea to torture her people in the past. Because of this, those who caused trouble stopped. This killing god clearly wanted to protect Yu Kalua. Those who went against him were seeking their own deaths. "Since you're here, I can enter the palace more often in the future," Deja said. "I heard that your general's residence is very domineering. When I'm free, I'll go take a look," Sima Yue said. "Alright, why don't we do it now?" Deja's eyes lit up. "Since I'm free now, how about it? But Lingyu and the rest are not here now." "Don't worry. I'm here. I won't let you be in danger," Deja said. "That's not what I meant." "Alright, let's go then." Sima Yue originally wanted to wait for Wu Lingyu to come back and ask him about the spies in the ghost realm. Since he said so, she could only agree to go out. "Then let's go. Do you want to inform grandfather?" Sima Yue thought that she should inform the Ghost King if she went out as soon as she arrived. He doesn't have the time to care about these small matters. The others don't have to report when they go out. Deja said. I'll bring you out and send you back when the time comes. All right. Because of Deja, she only brought Xiyu out alone. She did not even bring a single guard. Deja was very happy with her trust. He brought her out of the palace and went to the general's residence. Before they reached the general's residence, the Ghost King had already received the news. However, he did not do anything. He just waved his hand and dismissed his men. Go and watch. He ordered lightly. There was a strange movement in the air before it returned to normal. Outside the general's residence, Di Lu saw Sima Yue. He brought his men and bowed to her. He smiled and said, Princess, you're here. Everyone wants to see you. The news of what happened in Yangcheng had already spread. Now everyone in the general's residence wanted to see her. When they heard that she was coming, everyone was very happy. Di Lu, you're back so quickly. Sima Yue thought that only the Ghost King could bring them back so quickly. Why are you still standing here? Hurry up and get in. Deja kicked Di Lu. Di Lu nimbly dodged the kick. Both of them were reflexes. It seemed like this happened often. Sima Yue saw the scene and smiled. Deja did not have a good life in the past. Fortunately, he had a group of people to accompany him. Let's go. I'll bring you to the general's residence. Everything here was earned by me. Deja smiled proudly. Sima Yue followed him in. However, before they could start looking around the general's residence, they were interrupted by someone. You bastard, look at what you've done. An old man shouted as he came in from outside. When Deja heard this voice, his face that was full of smiles just now immediately sank. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.